ZinoNation episode 15, but my co-host just told me we did 15 last week, so I guess we'll call this 15.1. So I'm joined tonight by my usual co-host, Marcus Crawford, and also we have Bryan Singleton from True Drone Reviews in the house.
Yay.
And we're also joined by Ethan Mitchell of, is it your channel? It's called Ethan Mitchell. Do you have a fancy channel name?
It's just Ethan Mitchell.
Ethan Mitchell. So just like me, just your name. So we got a lot lined up to talk about tonight, so I won't waste any time fooling around here. I'm going to throw it to my co-host, Marcus Crawford, to get us going tonight.
Well, yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I know there's, Bryan had some stuff going on with the good old FEMI X8 SE, and I've got a little bit of news with the Paradenopi. So, yeah, I think we're off to a good start. Ethan, take it away.
Hey guys, my name is Ethan Mitchell. Thank you, Ron, for having me. It's great to be here on ZinoNation. I've actually been out of town for the past week and up in northern PA and Rochester, New York, doing some fishing with the in-laws, and had the chance to get the Mavic 2 Pro out and do some long-range flights with it. And but yeah, I got some great footage, and actually I got a new lens for your cell phone that I actually tried out. So maybe later I'll show a little clip from that to see what you guys think.
Oh, definitely interesting. And Ethan, in the pre-show, he shared with us, he had some distance, I won't say issues, but distance-related news on the Mavic 2 in the hills of PA. So we're definitely going to get into that in detail a little bit later on. But we don't want to bury the lead here. I invited Bryan on this morning after I was sitting in Starbucks this morning. I watched his recent video where he took everybody's beloved FEMI X8 out for a waypoint mission at your kind of usual spot down there by those factories, right, Bryan?
That's right, Ron.
And I believe there was a loss of GPS issue, but I'm going to throw it over to Bryan now, and he can explain the whole thing. And everybody go to his channel and watch his video. It's only a few minutes long, but you'll get the idea. So take it away, Bryan.
Okay, so I took it up. I was setting up a waypoint. That was the first time I was trying the waypoints with this thing, So I set it up there. I waited till it was okay, enough satellites and all that, and I took it off because that thing you have to take off. And then I hit start on that, so it took off and it started going. It made it it looks to me like maybe 200 feet. And then all the satellites just disappeared. Now, as soon as it did that, of course, it aborted the waypoint because you need the satellite to have the waypoint. That's what it runs on. It runs on the GPS. So without the GPS, without the satellites, it doesn't know where to go on the map. So it just stopped. Okay. Now, I'm kind of happy it just stopped because I just brought it back. But I've seen other people where the thing crashed, and that Kolsky guy, his flew away. I'm thinking if I would have just been out flying and I didn't have a waypoint mission going, it might have flown away also. You know what I mean? It might have just flown away.
Yeah, what would you do if you've been out of line of sight?
It just went through the waypoint, got to the second waypoint, and just stopped because the GPS went from 11 to 0. It just completely disappeared, all the GPS. Okay, so I just brought it back. Now, when I posted the video this morning, some people came on there, left a comment, oh, well, sometimes that just happens. Well, wait a minute. I got over 40 GPS quads, and that has never, ever happened. Not even with the Bugs 3 Pro or any of the, $150 GPS quads. That's never happened to me ever.
We had the same reaction to that, Bryan. I was reading some of those, and I'm going, hold it. I've got a whole bunch of drones, and I've never lost GPS ever. Right. One of them.
I mean, completely lost GPS down to 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's never happened.
Yeah, I've never had it happen to me either.
Well, anyway, I'm posting another video tomorrow. I took it out again the same day at night when it was a little cooler, and it still acted up. I didn't do a waypoints. I was just flying around doing a couple of orbits and a droney. but the satellites were just jumping all over the place from 6 to 12 to 8 to 13 to 11 back to 6. Because once it goes down to 6, none of that, none of that stuff will work, like dronies and any of that crap. Once it gets down to 6, those things aren't working. It has to have, I think, 8 or 9 before that, them types of options will work. So
I've never heard of anything like this before, Brian.
yeah, I've never seen anything like it. But now it didn't do that until I did that update. That when I watched your video, Marcus, the other day, I noticed there was an update. And so I put that update you did on, and that's when it started doing this.
Well, so that's making me wonder if it isn't update related, because it seems like these, I started seeing in the comments on a lot of my videos, people talking about GPS issues. And then I think it was John Coopy on ZinoNation put a post in there with a link to a forum. And there were a bunch of guys on there talking about.
I saw that link.
Yeah.
On it.
So I'm kind of with you. It's either got to be heat related, or although you kind of dispelled that by taking it up at night.
Right.
So it must have something to do with that update. Although like I said, I didn't see it at all the other day when I flew. Hey, I might need to take it up again and find out.
Yeah, well,
Don't go too far.
It was a lot cooler, even though that flight was the same day. When I took it up last night, it was after 7. It was a hell of a lot cooler than it was at 10:30 in the morning when I did it. At 10:30 in the morning when I did it, it was boiling.
Well, this got it's got some pretty good heat sinks on the bottom here, but I have flown it and picked it up, and it was too hot to hold on. It was that hot. And then even the motors, you couldn't even touch those motors. The other thing, Brian, is it may have a fan, but I never hear it. You know how, like on the Anafi and on other, well, for sure, on all the other DJI drones, you hear that fan going. I don't hear anything on this one, so I don't even know if it has one.
It might not. The Zino don't have a fan.
No,
the Zino does not have a fan. That's right. Yeah,
it doesn't have a fan.
Yeah.
But I'm really concerned about this GPS issue. I might just park this thing until they do another update, And the thing about it is, the way they have the updates, you can't roll it back.
Right.
Okay. At least, even though the Zino, it's the biggest pain in the ass in the world to do those updates, but you can roll it back if you want. I still have the files from every update they ever had. If I didn't like this update, I could just go load the other update from 3 months ago in there.
And you used to be able to do that with DJI drones, but they changed it. You used to be able to, within the app, roll back to whatever old firmware you wanted.
Right.
I think you could still roll back firmware with the assistant on your computer.
Yeah. Ethan's right about that. You can still do that.
FSU grad, that's our friend DeMarco Moore. He said that with the Zino, he used to lose connection with the controller on a regular basis, but the GPS was always good, which is true.
Yeah, the Zino had a lot of issues early on with connections, but a lot of time I think that has to do with the way you log in with your phone. If you connect your phone directly to the drone, I think it gets confused between whether the RC repeater or whether it should be connected to your phone. And then if you don't do the updates correctly on the Zino, when you do the camera update, excuse me, let me start over. If you start with the FC update, will start polling the SD card looking for the camera firmware update. And if you do not update the camera firmware after doing the flight control firmware, it can interrupt the connection when it starts polling the SD card looking for those files. Anyway, probably more information than you wanted.
That's inside baseball here, whatever. Inside the FEMI drone, but no, we have a lot of FEMI fans that watch this show. A lot of these guys have the FEMI X8, so this is a topic that's of great interest to their audience because the FEMI X8, is capable of being a pretty good drone, right, Marcus? With everything's working right.
Yeah, well, you know, potential according to Marcus. It's got potential up the ass. That's what Marcus says.
I see QC guys in there, and he had some really good flights with it too. It is a fast, powerful drone. I mean, this guy is comparable to that Mavic 2. Man, it'll shoot up to 40 miles an hour like nobody's business. When you want to go out to a place to shoot something, this dude will get there quick. I've had tilted horizon issues with it. That's what's always bothered me the most. Most of the other issues I had with it were with intelligent flight modes and stuff that who cares? I mean, if those don't work right, it's not that big a deal. But that horizon was always pretty important to me. And then, of course, I had that initial issue with the prompt, but that was, I don't know, that was kind of a fluke deal, I think.
So how is the image quality on the FEMI camera versus the Zino?
Oh, far superior.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's too bad they hopefully they'll get all these firmware bugs ironed out, because that would be great if they could get that ironed out a little bit better.
Well, Ethan, the thing is, I don't know if that's what it is. See, that's the thing.
Oh, you think it might be the hardware?
It might be a bad GPS module. I mean, I just don't know.
Yeah, how do we know? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
somebody explained to us before that, like the Zino has the image sensor in it from a mid-level cell phone, like not a flagship phone, not like a Galaxy or Samsung Note or an iPhone 10. It has more of a, you find in a mid-level phone, where the FEMI has that same sensor size that you'd find in a high-end cell phone. We have the specs someplace around. I'll try to post them if I can find them.
Yeah, I mean, Hubson has done just a genius job with the crappy little camera that's on the Zino. For what it is, it looks really good. So you got to give them kudos for that. And it's, you can buy it for $240. I mean, holy mackerel, that's pretty stunning.
I'll tell you, Ethan, if you've ever had like a knockoff GoPro, like a Xiaomi Yi, or Bryan probably knows them, a whole bunch of those. It looks like the camera quality from a knockoff GoPro, which isn't bad.
Right.
And that's why GoPro lost sales for so many years, because these knockoff people are making them look, they were like, I don't know, 80% as good as a GoPro at a fraction of the price, and
right.
Yeah. Ethan, as long as we got you on here, you shared a little story before we went there. You told about your trip to the mountains of PA and the rolling hills, and we all know that with OcuSync 2, the Mavic 2 has that, what is a 5-mile range, but you found a little something different when you took it to the rolling hills of PA. Can you fill us in on that? This is an interesting story. I've never heard anybody mention this before, so
sure,
folks.
So this past week, I went up to Potter County, PA, with my father-in-law, and so I took up the Mavic 2 Pro because I didn't want to take a whole bunch of stuff with me. So I just took that one up, and their house is in kind of like this little valley area, and mountains everywhere. It's very pretty up there. So I took the Mavic 2 up, and getting great shots, and I figured I'd take it out as far as I could go. And as soon as it went over the hill, and that was only about 1,500 feet away, the connection was like gone right away. And I'm pretty confident, I'm pretty comfortable with the Mavic 2 Pro, so I knew it would go into return to home as soon as it, I couldn't get the connection back. And sure enough, it came, as soon as it came back over the hill doing its return to home route, it connected, it reconnected right away. But I found out real fast that OcuSync doesn't bounce over top of mountains. But I was kind of expecting that to happen, but I really wasn't that sure how well it would do, because down here in Baltimore everything's relatively flat. So, but at least I know it'll come home.
Okay, now you know. Okay.
Well, Ethan, good thing you didn't have the FEMI X8 out there with you.
Right.
Got it over the other side of the hill and lost your GPS. You'd have been quad hunting.
I know, right?
Well, that's the other thing that's worth talking about on the FEMI is that people are having vastly different experiences with range. Some guys are going way out there. In fact, that last time I flew it, I went out just about one click and I lost connection and it went right into RTH and started coming back. But if you look at Gorilla Man, he's getting out about 500 meters or so and in just an open area and he's losing connection. So there's a lot of and you see like look at Dustin Dunhill. I think he took this thing out 2 freaking miles or something like that. It's there's people with vastly different experiences as far as range. So I don't know what that is.
Well, when I took mine out that first flight, I went about only, I think, 680 feet at that park. You know, I went to that tree line, which is like 700 feet, but I didn't get quite there. I was just a little bit short. I could see the video transmission breaking up. Yeah. So, and that was only 700 feet. So I was getting some breakup. I mean, I wasn't losing any bind on the sticks or anything. You know, I wasn't losing that, but I could see the video transmission breaking up. And there's nothing in the way there. You know, that park is just right there, you know. So, you know, but it didn't lose any GPS. You know, it kept the GPS the whole time.
Yeah, that's good.
But I was starting to break up on the transmission, you know. So who knows? Like I said, I think I'm just going to park it for a while and wait to see if they come out with another update. And then when they do, I'll throw it on there and we'll test it out again. You know?
So I got a question for you guys that you know, where you guys have the Zino and the FEMI, and I'm sure all you guys are familiar with the Spark and the Paradenofi. At what, like right now, under $500, what would you to somebody that's never flown a drone, what would you recommend to go out and buy? I see Marcus is putting up the Paradenofi.
I agree. If you could, if you could find the Anafi for under $500, which you can, I think somebody told me right now it's this refurb that Marcus and I both have the Amazon refurbs, and we got ours for $445 back in the spring. Now I think it's over $500 now. But if you could swing a couple of dollars over $500, you know, this and number 2 Spark, because again it's so easy. The only thing we'll be back on the Zino is, even though it'll save you the most money, you have to have a Windows-based computer to do the updates. You have to know what you're doing. I mean, you can't be somebody that only knows how to use the email and the browser on your computer. You know, and that's why I would only rate the Zino 3. I don't have the FEMI. I don't have either FEMI, so I'll what do the politicians say? I'll recuse myself on the FEMI. I'd
be interested in what Bryan has to say because he has had more drones than any of us.
He has all 4 of them.
Yeah,
and he has both FEMIs.
No, I'm not happy with that A3. I'm not happy with that thing at all. I'm probably going to say, you know, I've never sold a drone, but I might sell that. I've flown it twice. I'm so annoyed with that screen.
You just can't see anything on it, can you?
Can't see anything, you know. You have to fly that thing either in the morning or at dusk before the sun either comes up or goes down. If you can't see that thing at all in the sunlight, you know, forget about it. You know, that's not happening.
And what's too bad about that is the drone itself flies pretty.
Oh, it's very nice. The quad, the build quality, and you know, it has that feel. You know that feel when you take it out of the box, right? You know that feel, right? Yep. It has that feel. You know, you pull it out of the box and you just feel it, and you go, you know, this is a nicely built thing here. You know,
it does not feel like a toy. In other words, you pull the Zino out, it feels kind of like a toy.
More than the A3. Yeah,
the A3 does not. The A3, however, obviously the issue that I'm having and you're not is the foggy lens. As soon as I take it up to altitude, the lens fogs up and you can't see anything. Yeah.
Mine doesn't do that, so I'm going to probably be able to sell mine because I don't have that issue with that one. But I'm also not happy with that battery gauge.
Oh, that's the other one. Yeah, that's right.
I haven't even posted the video yet, when I took it out for the second flight, I took it out there and I took off and I'm like, I'm looking down there and it looks like the battery's dead. And I'm like, I know I charged this damn thing before I left the house. I know I'm old, but I'm not that damn old. I remember charging that damn thing, but it sure as hell looked like the battery was like, 20% left. I didn't know. So I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if it would go into some fail-safe return to home. I don't know where the return to home, if it knew where the return to home was. So I just had to land it, because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It might have did a return to home. It might have did it at my house because I think I calibrated the compass out by the garage. So I didn't know what if it knew where the home point was, or I just didn't know. So I just didn't want to take the chance. So I just landed it.
Hey, I'm looking in the comments here. So DeMarco is saying he had a Vizio XS812, and that, for people that don't know, that is just a little toy GPS drone. Bryan, you probably had one. I don't know, but it is a.
I think I had the one without the GPS on it, though.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the GPS on that thing was awesome. The camera was crappy. It had the little brushed motors, had no power. But boy, would that thing fly well, and it would do follow me like no other. I mean, it was a toy drone. It didn't have a lot of range or anything, but GPS wise, that thing was steady as a rock.
Wow.
I think anybody that would get the A3 is just best getting the goggles. That's going to be your best option with that thing. And I don't like to wear the goggles, so I'm not going to buy a set of goggles to use it. So that's just.
So speaking of goggles, what do you guys think of this new DJI system for FPV?
I don't think nothing of it.
I'm too old for that, Ethan.
Yeah,
I don't do FPV.
I think it's interesting, but I'm more curious about FPV. I'm actually I have goggles. I fly little, like little tiny whoops around the house with them, whatever. But I don't think I'm ever going to get to the level where I want to spend close to $900 for
hey Ron,
goggles and a camera.
Ron, you have my address, don't you?
If I may have thrown all the boxes out you sent me.
Send me your credit card, and I'll go pick up one of these DJI things. I'll let you know how it is.
And review it for me. And you'll review it for me, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't do FPV. I get motion sickness real bad, so I got DJI goggles, real nice ones. The only thing I use them for is for video games.
Yeah, you said that before. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I sure like. There's guys that are coming out with some amazing FPV video. It is stunning, the things that they're doing with those drones, and I can't get over how much better the camera quality is getting. So to answer your question, Ethan, I'm going to really enjoy watching your videos.
Well, I tell you what, so I've gotten this a lot, and I think the biggest thing holding people, especially our age and around our age, keeping from getting them into FPV is the learning curve to fly these things. And I've been kicking around the idea with John Coopy and Nemo, just, kind of like, I want to get together with these guys and like see if we can maybe develop a protocol to learn to fly a little faster.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Because I grew up playing video games here and there, but I was no means a gamer, and so I'm not real familiar with video games. I was never any good at Call of Duty or anything like that. But I have noticed some things because I'm still learning FPV. But I have caught on. I've noticed some things in the settings, like little changes that I've made that have dramatically helped. And once I learn a technique using those settings, then I feel I can change the settings again to like move to the next level. So I was curious, like I haven't seen anybody make a video about adjusting the settings. I've seen a lot of videos about like learning to fly FPV, like certain maneuvers you learn how to do first, but nothing as far as settings go to really help you out.
You mean like settings in like Betaflight and all that type of thing, or
Right, yeah.
Well, I know, like for instance, one of the new whoops out, and I forget which one but I know it had like a like prefab settings for like, like a beginner, and then another prefab setting if you for more advanced, like pre-tuned in.
Right. I see John Coopy put in there, the protocol to fly faster is to get in the air and just keep crashing until you don't.
I saw you laughing. I was laughing at reading it at the same time.
I do agree with that. And the one thing that is frustrating, and when I first started flying, I couldn't even keep the thing in the air for more than 15 seconds. And when you're my age, and your time is very valuable. So if you're spending the whole entire time in the ground, that's no fun. And I can see why a lot of people just give it up.
Well, here's my advice, Ethan. Whenever I can't even take off in acro, I just completely flip over. But if I take it off in angle mode and get it up at a nice height and then switch into acro, I can actually move it around a little bit then, but I can't take off in acro.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus, Ethan acts like he's 65 years old.
I know.
At my age, he looks like he's like 30.
Well, I just turned 40, so.
Okay.
No, but I know this is coming.
I'm old enough to be your daddy.
He won't appreciate it, but 40's young. I thought I was a young man. I hadn't put any weight on. Like at 40, I was still like just as good as I was at 30. But somewhere between 40 and 50, you turn old.
Oh, great! Yeah. Don't tell me that.
So enjoy 40. Enjoy the next couple of years, because they're going to be, your next 5 years are probably going to be your last 5 years of like, I'm a young man. I'm as good as I was when I was like 30 or 25.
Holy cow, Ron! The poor guy.
I think it started hitting me when I got to be about 55.
Okay.
That's when I started feeling. Well, I still smoked then. So, I quit smoking 2 years ago, and that's really
helped you.
That's helped me a lot. This vaping is not smoking. Believe me. I feel so much better since I quit smoking cigarettes.
That's great news.
Yeah, when I was about 55 is when it started hitting me like, oh man, I'm feeling but I work hard too. See, that's the problem too. I still work like a dog.
Right. FSU grad says he's 42. Another young man. Ethan, are you coming to Spin Up this year?
I'm probably not going to make it.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, FSU grads out there, Marcus and I could be there. Maybe we're going to do like a live ZinoNation at Spin Up. So FSU grad, you're definitely welcome to come, you were on the show live with it, but live on the show where we're all in the same places is the real meaning of live.
Right. Unfortunately, I work in the hospital, and my full-time shift is all on the weekends. So it's very, very challenging for me to get off. Because, so.
All right, Marcus, I want to dive into your new, we mentioned already, the Paradenofi. Tell us a little bit about your whole return and your new one. And
yeah, so, it's, we bought, Ron and I both bought these about the same time as refurbs from Amazon. And the one I got, I could tell when I opened it, hey, it had definitely been used. It had some scuff marks on it and stuff. But hey, I bought it as a refurb, right? So that's what you're going to expect. And it did okay, but I had a few issues of it. Occasionally, I would land it, and the motors would not disarm. Now, both times that happened, I ended up taking the battery out to shut it off. I'm thinking if I'd have been thinking probably more clearly, I would have maybe hit that land button again or something like that. But holding the left stick down would not shut them down. But then also on several more occasions, the drone itself just would not shut down. You'd hit the power button and it simply would not turn off. Short press, long press, I don't care, double press, whatever you did. So I'd end up having to remove the battery to shut off the drone, which, isn't that big of a deal, but it probably isn't good for it either, I can't imagine. So clearly there was something going on there. But the thing that spurred me into returning it for an exchange, and this was only in windy conditions. And as Bryan pointed out to me, it's not going to do well in 100-mile-an-hour winds. But there were a couple of cases where I had it in some pretty mild wind conditions, and man, it would really jink around, and even particularly like put it into return to home, and the whole return to home would be jinking around like that. And at first I thought it was just the gimbal, until I realized that the gimbal doesn't go side to side. So it had to be the whole drone going side to side by that. So in talking to other people, Ethan for one, and many others, that Ron for another, talking to a lot of people that said that, yeah, they'd get that occasionally in sport mode, but it was not prevalent. So it made me believe that I probably had a problematic one. So I went ahead and returned it. And I had my first flight with this guy yesterday. And the thing is, I couldn't really tell it because it was just a dead calm day. There was no wind. But the whole flight, I had it in sport mode. And never once did it make a misstep. And, it shut right off as soon as I pushed the button. Well, it has about a 2 or 3 second delay, as you guys know, when it shuts down. But the only issue I had it with the whole flight is I was in an urban environment, and I flew it out of range. And, of course, it executed a return to home, but I did not get FPV back. Which, I've had a lot of commenters in the comments tell me different things you could do to change that. But really, it wasn't like a critical situation, because I was able to get telemetry from the drone. So I knew it was coming back. And then I also knew right where it was, and I could physically see it, line of sight. And it wasn't a case where I was that concerned about it. But FPV is kind of important. Hey
Marcus, what device were you using when that happened?
An Apple XS.
Yep, I've for some reason, and I have a theory, and I've talked to Parrot several times about this. The new eye products.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost Ethan.
I think you were going to say something. I guess there's some problems with the new new Apple eye products.
Hey,
I'm back.
Froze for a second. There you go.
Yeah. So I've noticed that whenever you're using an Apple product with the Anafi, for some reason, that I don't know if I believe it's the security protocol that's on the Lightning port, but if it loses that connection, it doesn't want to reestablish it until you unplug the cord and plug it back in.
Bingo.
But the remote, if as long as it's got that solid blue light on it, you still are connected to the drone. But for some reason, it's if it loses the video, the FPV feed, for some reason, the Apple products tend not to want to get it back. The only iPhone that I have not had that problem with is an i6. The newer ones seem to have an issue.
Ron, you lost FPV.
Yeah, I've had the exact same. I have the exact problem that Ethan described. Only one time where I lost my FPV. I have the iPhone, the 10, just the plain 10. Mine's almost 2 years old, so it's that 10, and the very first 10, in other words. And I was flying it close by, and I lost FPV, but I had complete RC control. You know what I mean? Like I was my controls were working. It was like right by me, so it didn't matter in the FPV. But until I landed, and I didn't turn it off, but I unplugged the lightning cable and plugged it back in, right back again. So exactly what you described. And an exact fix worked. John
right.
said in the chat that Apple cut you off. They knew you were about to say something bad about their
right.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem with a Android, but I will say this is the first drone app that I've seen that have an issue with Apple. So almost most of the time, most of your drone apps tend to work better with Apple.
Absolutely. That Parrot Anafi app, that Free Flight 6 or whatever that is, the one for the Anafi, that'll work back on the iPhone 4.
Right. Yeah. I've had the best luck with it on the i6. My newer iPhone 8 Plus and I have my buddy's iPhone 10 that I use it to fly some stuff with. But for some reason, if you lose video, or sometimes even the video the FPV feed can get a little funky with these newer iPhones. And I'm pretty sure it's whatever security protocol they have on that Lightning port.
That makes sense. Hey, Ron, I got a quick comment, Ron. So if you look at my feed here, you can see the Anafi right above the camera there. Do you see anything?
Where am I looking at, Marcus?
Well, look directly above the camera on the Parrot Anafi.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Look, Mark. Did you see that, Brian? Look directly above the shoulder on the shelf there, above the camera. It's a familiar drone there.
Whose feed am I supposed to look at? Ethan's.
Marcus's.
Oh,
Look! It's a
Inside joke.
I see a Zino box.
Yeah, look at
Box.
Bring it up close.
yeah. We better go.
Oh no, that thing. Okay.
This is the camera drone, Ethan.
Yeah. Okay. I can't see this review.
Yeah, I heard that was the new hotness that's out right now.
And it's perfectly compatible with the iPhone 10.
Well, that's good.
You used it with the 10.
I'm sure it'll probably work with an Android 1.
It's got a 360-degree camera in it, right, Brian?
It's a classic.
I'm definitely going to try it out.
Folks, it's a review coming soon, so be on the lookout for it. Ethan, I have this is the part of the show we call Ask Ethan a Question.
Right.
I had the aforementioned Parrot Anafi out the other night. I ran over to a ball field, which is right next to the bay here down the shore, to get some sunset photos. So I took it up, and I'm still, I think I've got the video settings down, but I'm still working on the camera settings. So I took it up and I put it on like a combination of DNG and JPEGs, right? And I set it for to take what do you call it? It takes multiple exposures. What's that setting called?
Bracketing.
And I must have not set, because all the brackets were the same. Like I must have missed a setting here. But anyhow, let me cut to the chase here. So I get home, I'm reviewing the photos, and of course the DNG, it's got the barrel distortion thing going on. And I've been fixing barrel distortion for years. I've done amateur photography since in my 20s. So, but I didn't want to mess with it. I just wanted to get something up real fast. So I get the JPEG out and I'm playing with it. And boy, the JPEG was real noisy out of this thing.
Interesting.
Like I did just a few. I didn't Photoshop to death. I just lightly tried to touch it up or whatever. And I saw all this noise on the JPEGs, which I could have taken the same shot with my iPhone. I wouldn't have had all that noise. So I'll have to go back and work the DNG file. I just didn't want to play around for 5 minutes trying to get the barrel distortion out. But I want a couple answers from you. But another thing is there kind of some kind of a prefab thing to take the barrel distortion out of the photos from this, or do you just have to go in and work it manual every time in Lightroom?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't really taken that many photos with it, but I don't think there's a way to fix it in the app. You probably have to always fix it in post processing. As far as the video noise, were you using automatic or manual settings?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've noticed if you put it on automatic, it tends to want to crank up the ISO, and
that could have been it.
And I tell everybody there's a big difference between taking video and taking photos. And unfortunately, if you're taking photos, you want to make sure your ND filter is off. And so you can get the lowest ISO with the highest shutter speed. It's kind of opposite than what you want for video.
And I did not have one thing, I didn't have enough time to put it on, but I knew I was supposed to take pictures, so I didn't bother putting the ND filter on.
Right. Yeah. But so for that case, I would just make sure you're trying in manual. And also, I also even take my photos in P-log as well.
Yeah, and I probably should have, but I was in a hurry, so I didn't have time to check every setting. And I want to bring this up for everybody too. Ethan mentioned about the not needing the ND filter so much for pictures. When I take the Mavic 2 Pro up now, they get pictures lots of times. I don't even put an ND filter on because you can just adjust the aperture on that. You really don't need the I mean, you do if you were in maybe tremendous sunlight, but in most light settings, you don't even need an ND filter when you're taking a photo with the Mavic 2 Pro because of being able to adjust the aperture to take care of what the ND filter would usually do.
Right. When I'm doing a few weddings, I usually go with a lower ND filter than what I would do with like an Anafi or fixed aperture, just because I know I can open or close the aperture on the Mavic 2 Pro, so I can compensate for the different shutter speeds.
Exactly. The ND4 filter is usually useless to me, but now before I got the Mavic 2 Pro, now the 4 filter makes sense again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So. Okay, well, thanks for those answers there. Again, I'm it'll take me all summer, but I'll finally learn everything I need to know about this, and that's what's great about the Anafi. I can't speak for the Phoebe, but the Zino, it's a few things to learn on it, but and that's the good side of it too. It's easy to learn everything. It doesn't take long, but this is, people think this is just kind of like another tour drone, but no, this has as much to learn on as the DJI drones.
Oh yeah, I would say that, like I've said it before, the camera quality coming out of the Anafi is just as good as the Mavic Air. I mean, if you put them side by side, granted the picture profiles are a little different, but if you compare colors and noise, they're almost identical.
And you even compared the quality out of this to the Evo, right?
I did a video with it to the Mavic 2 Pro.
Okay, but I mean, maybe not video, but in the show you mentioned that you thought this compared favorably with the Evo too, also.
I personally think the Evo has got the best image quality right out of the camera. I always recommend that drone to people that don't want to have any business with color grading. They don't want to do color correction. They just want to pull it out of the camera and post it. That 4K 60 that comes out of the Evo looks really, really good. And if anything, you might need to adjust saturation just a little bit, but for the most part, it looks awesome straight out of the camera.
We have an Evo owner on the show here with us tonight.
Yeah,
Bryan, you're pretty happy with your Evo quality too.
I love that thing. I love it. It's great. I've only actually flown it like 5 times, but it's just rock solid, man. But it's $1,000. I mean, it's not
it's
$300 thing. It's $1,000. So.
Right.
Oh yeah. Like I still, we go back to the Anafi. I think for the price, that's definitely a hard drone to beat.
I was going to ask you that same question, Ethan. You asked us about around $500. What drone would you buy? But you just answered it just then.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's everybody talks about the Evo and the Mavic 2 Pros and the Mavic Zooms, and yeah, those are awesome drones. But you're also talking twice the price. So
yeah.
Right.
So Ethan, I actually have Bryan and Ron to thank for this one. And
I have Bryan because when a lot of people poo-pooed the Anafi and said it wasn't any good, Bryan stood by it all the way, and always told me that he was very happy with it. And, again, Bryan's never led me astray on a drone, so I went out and got it, and he was right as usual.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I got the Anafi, I had the Mavic 2 or the Mavic Air at the same time. And when I had the Mavic Air, I never did like it just because it was so obnoxiously loud.
Right.
I didn't have a problem with the flight time. Didn't have a problem with, I handled like a DJI product would, but I was always knew the noise was like really bad. And that's really what permitted me to fly it the most. And then I got the Anafi and I was like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah.
Well, the Mavic Air is a lot quieter with those faster air screw props. I mean, that thing really cut the noise down. Yeah,
that's you would have thought DJI would have come out with something like that from the get-go.
You would think, huh? Yeah, because that was, like you said, Ethan, that was the most annoying thing about that drone. And it's not just the volume of the noise, it's the kind of noise it makes. It just gets under your skin.
Oh yeah, I know. And especially when I first started flying, that was probably my biggest thing that I noticed is I did not want to draw attention to myself just because there's such this like a nomenclature, this stigma with drones in general. People that if you're flying around in a public place and you have other people around and they hear it, they're going to complain. So that's why that was the biggest thing that prevented me from flying it the most. If you were flying out in the wilderness all the time, there's nobody around, sure, you're not going to have an issue. Just like,
right.
Same thing. I have a problem with the Phantoms. The Phantoms are loud as crap.
Yeah.
Compared to the Mavic drones. So
Hey, Ron, Ron, do you remember that video I had with the Anafi where I set it down right next to a bird? The bird didn't even run away.
Right.
I didn't stop the quadcopter. I just set it down right at the bird level, and I turned the Anafi to look right at the bird. The bird must have been that far away. He just stood there and looked at the Anafi and hopped away.
Yeah.
Now, if that would have been the Mavic Air, he'd have flown away before that thing got anywhere near him.
Oh yeah. I have footage where I'm, flying in a marina parking lot, and a bunch of cars started coming in. Everybody's like going to their boats to go fishing. So I just stopped flying the Nafi around. I had it sitting, just hovering at like 30 feet and like just looking around, and you can see people walking right under it, and they didn't even look up, didn't even notice it was there.
It was there. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. I got a similar story too. The other night, 2 nights ago, when I was flying this to Sunset, I was in this little park, and I had it up not quite 100 feet, and a lady came up to tell me a story about something. Some lady I didn't even know, and she had no idea I'm flying a drone. And finally, I'm showing her the picture of the sunset in the screen. She said, "Where's the drone?" And I said, "Right there." She couldn't even find it or whatever. She had no idea it was a drone up there. I was flying a drone, or I just looked like a guy standing around with the joystick in my hand or whatever, or a game controller.
Well, this guy, the last time I flew it, I was there at that park that I fly at, and if you look at that video, you'll see all kinds of insects flying around it and stuff. When I landed this thing, it was covered in frickin' bug guts. They must hate the sound of those props, because it chopped up. I don't know if they were bees or what they were, because you couldn't really. When you looked at the video, all you saw was something going by. But I
noticed that with my Spark the other day. I was doing some stock footage with the Spark, and every bug wanted to just fly at it for some reason, and it was just covered. And it was actually my last drone too. None of the bugs bothered the Anafi or any of the Mavics, but for some reason the Spark, it had the high pitch to it. They just came right at it.
Yeah, it must be something about the pitch or something that gets them going. But yeah.
Hey, speaking about value drones that are $500, and this is I'm going to give him a shout out now because I'm leading into the story here. Our friend Sean Matthews of the Drone Seekers, he's done a series of videos recently on a Phantom 3. Just kind of showing how to fly and so on. But his point being, and my point is, what if you could get like a used Phantom, maybe not necessarily Phantom 3, but a Phantom 3 Pro or a Phantom 3 Advanced at about $300 or whatever. That may be better than the other drones we're talking about. You're
not going to get a Phantom 3 Advanced for $300.
You're not. Although I got my Phantom 4, Bryan, and I bought it. Oh gosh, must have been in January or so on eBay. Just a Phantom 4 regular one, not a Phantom 4 Pro with 2 batteries. I got it for $500 on eBay.
Yeah, I was looking at one the other day, actually, a regular Phantom 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a regular
Phantom 4, not the Pro or the V2 or none of those other.
So a regular Phantom 4 is going to be
that has the light bridge. The Phantom 4, the regular,
it does, but
light bridge, right?
Still, I've flown it out. Gosh, a couple of kilometers, and I don't know.
It's great. Even just the regular Phantom 4 is great.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in other words, if you're interested in range, that thing's going to beat all the drones we just talked about in range.
That's true.
As far as flight characteristics and handling, it's going to beat all the drones we just talked about. I don't know if the camera's any better than the Anafis.
I would just get the regular Phantom 4 before I would get a Phantom 3 Advanced. The Phantom 4 is better.
The other thing I'll tell you about flying it after you've been flying some folding drones and smaller drones, it's just unbelievable the amount of wind that thing moves. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a helicopter.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of thrust going on there.
Oh, yeah.
So that could be an option too, if somebody can, Facebook Marketplace or eBay, if they could get a refurb or slightly used Phantom 4 or like a Phantom 3 Pro or Phantom 3 Advanced. And again, you may have to pay a little more, but you may get somebody thrown in the case, a couple extra batteries, a bunch of accessories with it too, which makes it even a better value. So, and I know some people don't want to fold with used and whatever. No, I definitely understand that.
Well,
yeah.
you just carrying the thing around when you're used to a little folding drone that you throw in your backpack or whatever, it is a whole different deal.
Yeah, yeah.
But not everybody needs to, a lot of people, heck, they can just throw it in the trunk of their car or whatever. And it's well worth it. But to Ethan's point, it does attract attention. So that big drone, and it makes a lot of noise. If you go out to the park with that, everybody knows you've got a drone up in the air.
That's why I don't even fly that Typhoon. It's in a box.
Oh yeah, especially at the
Yeah.
At those price points, you could probably get into a original Mavic Pro or a Platinum.
Yeah.
True. Speaking of big drones, you see what I have on the back of the set here. Talk about a big drone.
Is that 3D?
That's a monster.
That's a heavy
soul or whatever.
heavy, loud beast.
I haven't had it out in a long time. I'm about to charge the battery and fly this big beast this week.
See,
and
the bad thing about that thing, Ron, because mine's in a box. I don't fly that thing anywhere. It's loud. It's heavy.
Yep.
The problem with that thing is if you don't have the gimbal, nothing works on it.
Right. But I don't have the gimbal or even the
gimbal costs more than the quadcopter.
But I could put my GoPro Hero 7 on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can fly it around. And I mean, it looks like I'm flying a racing drone then, because when you turn, like it doesn't go with it, but there's no jello. That Hero 7 smooths it all out. It's like I'm flying like the world's biggest racing drone around when I'm curving and stuff.
FPV Ron.
Yeah, you can fly it around. I put my Session 5 on there, but nothing works on the app without the gimbal.
Yeah,
so to me, it's pointless. So I just put mine back in the box. That gimbal is like $300 now.
More than the drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, okay.
Everybody knows that you can't do anything with it without the gimbal. So that's why the gimbal is at such a premium now.
Yeah.
All the flight plan stuff of the whole thing is without the gimbal, none of that works.
The good thing I'll tell you is I haven't flown this thing since the spring, but like in New Jersey, like in March or whatever, it's as windy as can be. I had it out in the day where I was flying some other drones, including the Zino, that were getting tossed around with the wind. I put this monster in the air. I mean, the batteries probably weighs more than the Zino. I put this monster in the air on a real windy day. It didn't move. This thing was like a rock up there, even in like 20, 25 miles per hour wind. It didn't move. So
it's very solid. It's fast too. If you put it in that sport mode, that thing's fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, I want to ask Ethan a question. Have you ever tried that pastel setting for the Anafi? And what kind of conditions? I thought it looked kind of neat, but I guess maybe I wasn't in the right weather or the right sun. But I think it could be something that would look cool if you had it. I don't know what kind of conditions you're supposed to use it in. I think it was sunny the day I used it. But I'm not sure. I'm not a photographer. So
I would never use it for anything, to be honest with you.
I thought it looked kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, those settings remind me of those like filters that they have in like some of your cell phone apps. You know, and I think that's what that's like that little area that they're trying to shoot for.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've still seen the pastel there, but I don't think I've ever hit it either because I didn't know what I was going to do.
I think if you hit the right weather conditions, it might look cool. But I just don't know what they are.
Yeah, right. I always shoot 100% in P-log all the time.
Right. Yeah.
And then Ron, I had a question for you too.
Go ahead, Bryan.
Have you ever used that program that I bought that night you were on there hustling that thing?
Oh, the
LumaFusion.
LumaFusion.
You ever used that yet?
I've used.
No, you haven't. Okay.
I made one video I posted already on it. It was I forget what video, but I posted a video made exclusively on LumaFusion, and I've done some other clips on it, but I've only made one complete video. But I will be using it more now because my friend Ethan Mitchell finally convinced me to get Final Cut Pro and LumaFusion. You can start a project on LumaFusion and save it as a file that'll go directly to Final Cut Pro and let you finish the edit there.
Well, I don't have a Mac.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Have you played around with LumaFusion at all, Ethan?
I've just played with it just a little bit, but on my cell phone, I don't have an iPad Pro, which is what the supposed to use it on. My phone doesn't have enough horsepower to really run it the way it's supposed to.
Gotcha. I have the original 12-inch Pro, which is probably 3 years old or maybe going on 4, and it works fine. In fact, it works on my iPad Mini 4. I mean, not as good as it does on the Pro, but it does work on there.
Nice. Yeah, I have it on my phone. I tried to throw a LUT on it, and then the whole phone and everything froze up.
Okay, right.
So it didn't like
Well,
that.
the software, it runs. Are you talking about the Luma Fusion?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it runs fine on my iPhone 8 Plus. Runs fine.
Okay.
No problems whatsoever. Even putting the LUTs on and all that stuff. I just have a hard time figuring it out. You know, I guess I need to watch another 100 YouTube videos.
Yeah, I mean, Ken Dono told me that he bought when he bought whatever the current iPad Pro, the 11-inch, and that he said he's seen it LumaFusion render his 4K video faster than his computer has.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they optimize them for for the chipset in there. So
right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Apple definitely does some things behind the scenes like nobody else does to get these programs running smooth sometimes.
exactly.
So
Yeah, I think if you had more screen real estate for LumaFusion, that would be awesome. I'm not sure if you can hook a external monitor to an iPad Pro or not, but that would be awesome if you could.
I could do that. I have those adapters where I could plug one into my iPhone 8 here and run it off on the TV. I mean,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah.
it'd probably be easier for me to figure it out if I could have it bigger.
Yeah.
Right.
Put it up on the 60-inch TV. Maybe I could figure it out a little bit better.
Well, I know when the Apple updates come out in the fall for all their devices, I know you'll be able to use your iPad, or I guess your phone too, as an external monitor for your computer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it could be vice versa, but I know you can, like, if you wanted to be editing on your computer, you could have the second screen on your iPad sitting right by you. So
Hey, Ron, when's the new iPhone coming out? Isn't that like September?
probably like the week after whatever the holiday, Labor Day, they'll have the announcement, and then it'll probably ship 3 or 4 weeks after that. So by the end of September, they should be available. I don't know
What
how.
number are they up to? What's that going to be? 11?
I think it'll be 11 because they've done 10 2 years in a row.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
they did the 10, didn't they? Do the upgraded 10, didn't they?
Yeah. So like the 10 plus or whatever.
Probably the 10S or some shit like that.
This will be the iPhone 11.
Yeah.
Hey, Ethan, I want you to know when I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, I was out in the national parks and I was taking some pictures with my Canon M50, and I was trying to get the exposure right, and I remembered, hey, Ethan explained that histogram thing to me.
Right.
So I brought it up. Hey, it worked great. It was awesome. So
Nice.
I'm sitting there.
Yeah, it's an awesome tool. I use it on everything.
Yeah. The thing is, I forget to do it on the drones. I need to remember to do that.
Well,
Right.
I'll give you the tip on the Anafi. To get the histogram up, you have to go in and turn auto iOS off. Otherwise, you won't see it.
Okay.
So,
You have to put it in manual mode.
right. Well, you just when it's setting the the speed for you, the iOS, you have to hit the auto button to turn it off, and then the histogram will pop up.
Gotcha.
So that's a little tip there. Hey, listen, before we go too much further, I want to do a couple shout outs here. We're using a new piece of, I don't know, software. I'm going to call it, it's a web extension probably.
It's a duck.
It's called StreamYard, which you know because
Right up there.
It's a duck.
My face.
And it looks like an icon of maybe like a duck or something.
It is a duck. It's a mallard duck.
That's a mallard, greenhead.
Yeah. And anyhow, this I wish I could take credit for this, but Bill Thomas from Coast to Coast Drones and Drone Therapy, he recommended this software for me. So I said I want to shout out Bill for recommending it. It works
How much
great.
did you pay for it?
Well, this is the free version. I think Bill has the paid version.
Well, what's the limitations of the free? You got 4 people on here.
Yeah, I don't know. There's usually these
Watch,
things.
it's going to cut out in 60 minutes. Watch, in 20 seconds, we're all going to blow up.
That's what
Timer up in the corner there.
That's why I said but Marcus and I tested this thing for over an hour on Saturday. And
did you? Okay.
It didn't cut us off. Usually these things cut us
5
off
seconds.
minutes. So yeah. So and anybody doesn't know,
We made it.
most people use Hangouts. Most people use Hangouts to do this because Hangouts connected right with YouTube, and you could start the event, and it would just tied right in real nice. Well, as of August 1st, Hangouts no longer connects to YouTube to allow you to do this type of streaming.
Yeah, this is way better because it's clearer.
Right.
Yeah, it's much clearer.
It really is.
Yeah.
A lot clearer.
And it has
What's that one that Roger's using? He's using a new one too, a Zoom or something.
which Bill Thomas is going to use too. Well,
but he has to pay. Roger has to pay $20 a month for that.
Right. Well, he should start up a little. What do you call that thing where you pay money?
Patreon.
Pardon?
Patreon.
He should do a Patreon that all he needs is
he gets
contribute $1.
Chats. He gets
super chat. Sure.
Yeah. People donate to him.
Right.
So that his super chats usually would pay for that.
There you go. That's good. So anyhow, I
they
want to
charge for the month for that. They don't. It's not a one-time fee for that Zoom. It's a monthly fee.
Okay.
Let me tell you, Brian, I don't know if you do anything in the stock market, but that Zoom, the company, had their IPO earlier in the year, and you wish you would have bought some of that stock because it's Zoom dried up.
Well, hold on a minute. Here's my life savings. So I don't think I got too many stocks on my horizon. That's my savings for my Mavic 2 Pro. It's right there.
Well, Brian, guess what? You're richer than people are in the stock market today because they had the stock market had the worst day of the year so far this year. So you have more money now than Marcus.
Yeah, they had a nice correction today.
Yeah. For me today, and I'm not joking, negative $30,000.
Oh my God!
I guarantee you, tomorrow it'll be up 500.
I
guarantee it.
And you're not seeing me panic because I've been through it before. And
these sellers, they sold off today, and then the buyers will swoon in tomorrow to get the shit at the lower price.
Maybe not tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, the next day.
I guarantee it. Believe me.
Marcus isn't panicking, but he's not hitting the buy button on any
No, because
he just canceled his Evo. He just went right in the toilet.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marcus. You'll get him. Just wait by Friday. It'll be okay.
Hey, I asked for it.
Okay. My second shout out tonight is I want to shout out our friends Billy Kyle and Ken Dono. They have started up their podcasts, and I think it's 3 times a week now. I'm going to try to link their Facebook group that talks about all their podcasts, but check them out, support those guys. I'm sure they're going to have some great content. I think the first one maybe dropped tonight. So again, I'm going to try to get the link in here before we end this. And spoiler here, I think Billy Kyle is going to be on next week with us. So we're going to ask him all about it next week, and also we're going to ask him how his summer with the Parrot Anafi worked out. He just purchased the Anafi like a lot of us back in the spring, so he's been in his drone bag. He's replaced the Mavic Air with the Anafi, so as his go-to when he goes out on his professional shoot. So it's going to be interesting to find out how he made out. And let's see what else. Okay, Bill the Drone Reviewer tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a guest besides the usual guest. We got Drone Therapy on Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know who the guest is besides the regulars, and that's about it for my plugs. I want to plug Marcus Crawford's going to be receiving his Validity Aviator on
Wednesday, FT Aviator. Yep.
So watch his channel. Maybe we'll get a live unboxing or something like that. So I know I don't even want to go into it. The aviator's been in the news a lot lately, and there's been controversy and whatever. But there's going to be no controversy with Marx's. So
yeah, I mean, I don't anticipate a lot of problems. I'm going to be pretty careful with it. I'm going to fly it exclusively with that Phantom 4. We've talked about that, Brian. It's a $500 drone, so I'm going to make sure I'm out in the open. But I think way more people have been successful with it than have had problems. So for a guy like me, I have problems with cross-coupling when I fly, and so I'm hoping that that'll help. The other thing that I've got going that I think, Ron, that you were alluding to is Curtis Dart introduced me to a friend of his that was selling a Crystal Sky monitor, one of those 7.85, and it's not the ultra bright one, it's just the regular one. So he put that in the mail today, so I'll have that in a couple days, and I'm really looking forward to that because we talk about the iPhone XS, and what happens with it is when it heats up, it
takes a crap.
Yeah, right. It really does.
Right.
And
that's why I don't like to, like when I was out yesterday shooting that video with the X8, okay? That's why I don't like when it's real warm to use the screen recorders. Because I don't want to text. I want to text the phone as little as possible. You know what I mean?
You're right, Brian, and I always do. So
because I know you always use the screen recorder, but I usually don't when it's real warm because I don't want the picture to go away, and disappear. You know what I mean? So that happens on those iPhones. I mean, it's just a built-in temperature thing. It shuts down the screen if it gets too hot. I mean, that's a fail-safe thing to keep you from ruining and blowing up the battery and ruining the phone. I mean, I understand why they do it. But when you run them screen recorders, that's just taxing the CPU more and making it hotter,
Yep, I've also had problems with screen recordings with Android devices where it'll make the drone app run really, really slow.
Right. Yeah, that does that too. Hey. I mean, I don't have any trouble running the screen recorder with my iPhone 8 Plus. It's just that when it's hot, it does tax the phone. If it's cool, I have no problem doing it. I don't have an issue with it at all. But when it's really warm, there's an issue. Oh, I just want to say one thing. I made a video with the Evo. They put out a new feature on their last update. I did a video last week. I posted a video, Altel Evo update, But they put a little thing in there called missions, okay? And it's a droning bore. Okay. It's a bore fest. I think it's for like mapping or something. It's for really a professional type thing. It's really not fun. I made the video, but I called it. I'll tell Evo's missions options. It's a droning bore. It's just boring.
I was really surprised that they called it missions because that kind of makes you feel like it's a waypoint, but it's definitely a mapping.
It's a mapping thing. It's exactly what it is. It's not a mission at all. It has nothing to do with a mission.
Yeah, they should have called it mapping.
Right. They should have just called it mapping.
Right.
Hey, I got an update, people. I said I didn't know who the guest was on Drone Therapy on Wednesday. How could I forget? It's Josh from Parks and Tech, who was on the show last week, and he'll be a great guest. So everybody tune in Wednesday and say hello to Parks and Tech, and please go over and like and subscribe to his channel. He's only got about actually he's probably doubled now, but he only had 50 some subs last week. So let's get him up and at least up to 500 or something real soon here. He's got some good content on there.
Hey, Ron, on that subject, I wanted to ask Bryan, hey, what's Josh at Parks and Tech really like?
He's a super nice dude, man. He really is. He's a great guy.
Tell us about your upcoming video with Josh.
Oh, he made the video. I didn't fly that day. I just watched him and we BS'd and while he was flying the Zino. That's all.
Okay, so he directed you.
Walking around the country club, and there's some places on there I hadn't been yet, looking around in there.
I don't know.
I actually only shot one video or two videos there. I did the one flight with the Zino, and then I went over there and did like a recon because, you know, he's been over there many more times than me. He knows the place better than I do, even though it's only, I could throw a rock on that place from my house.
Wow.
That's how close it is. It's just right down the street from me.
Hey guys, John Coopy's got a question about the Zino.
Oh,
Mixing the latest firmware with the camera. No, I did exactly that, John. So if you looked at my video here a while back, I upgraded to the 3.8, I think it is, the camera firmware. And if you saw that video, it was so horrible. And in fact, the QC guy, I don't know if he's still on here, on one of his channels, he had posted a way to roll back. And what you have to do is, I get the files confused, but one of the files you use from the new version of the firmware, and you take the other file from the old version, and it will then reload the older version on there, because I guess there's a date code in there that it has to read correctly. And so if you don't have the one newer file, it won't allow the old file to load. So if you look on the QC Guys Facebook page, you can find that. But if you haven't upgraded, do not do it.
Hey, I just want to jump in here and say one thing to this. There's somebody in here, Cigar Nation Warriors.
Bill.
What's his name?
Bill.
Bill? Okay. Listen, when you do the Zino update, I think he mentioned something like 45 minutes ago about the controller. You can do the pinching of the pins together to do that. You don't have to, all you got to do is take the pins with a tweezer and squeeze them together and do the update. I don't know how many times I would do that, but just doing it once or twice, that's not going to break the pins. You know what I mean? Because that was the whole problem with people updating that controller. They didn't want to, they either didn't have that little hard drive slave jumper. So
that's
they
called the JST-1.25mm. And the only reason I know that is Koopy just posted it.
Yeah, that little jumper thingy. But you can actually just take a pair of tweezers and squeeze the pins together. And then after you do the update, all you have to do is stick a little, you know, something in there and just pry them apart. That's all. Now, the way it felt to me, it seemed the pins were pretty sturdy, and that you could probably do that 3 or 4 times before you might run into a problem. But I don't think I'm ever going to update that Zino again. I think right now, I love it right where it's at. I don't think I'm going to do any more updates on it. So I got it updated, but I didn't do that last update, the one where they mucked up the camera. I'm at the 5.2, I think it is. That's where I'm leaving it right there.
Yeah, and that's good. That flight control 5.2 is
yeah.
Is
that's where I'm at, 5.2. I'm not going past that.
Yeah, and then the camera firmware don't go past the 0.36.
Yeah, I'm not going past
0.3.6.
I'm right at the 5.2. When they come up with that one, I put that one on. It flew great. Everything worked perfect. Camera looked phenomenal. I'm leaving it right there.
You can't go wrong with it with that 1.15 too. I mean,
right.
With those speed settings in there, when you could slow this thing, Ethan, you could slow this thing down so you could fly this thing as precise as as possibly can be when you slow this thing down.
So I'm leaving it there, man. Hell with it. That's good enough for me.
In fact, I don't know if John Coopy, I don't think I'm sharing anything, too secretive here, but John has Kelly Shores' old Zino that he got from DeMarco, who won it in a contest from Ready Set Drone Kelly. But anyhow, I guess John just recently watched Kelly's video when he crashed. He kept crashing the Zino.
Well, he hated the Zino, didn't he? Didn't he think the Zino was garbage?
Right. He kept crashing it, and like John was saying I think he was saying this in the Coast to Coast chat that Ethan, you probably saw this, where he said he's going to take the Zino to spin up the show to Kelly and say, "How did you crash the thing? Because it flies so precisely, whatever." And to Kelly's credit, it wasn't flying as good back then, but now,
right. When he was hating on it, it had just come out and it was doing that up and down and doing all that going sideways and all that crap.
Hey, let me answer John's question here. He is asking about the firmware and upgrading and then pushing 3.6 back to the camera. So that's exactly what you'll want to do, John. So after you upgrade the 1.1.52 flight control firmware, and I cannot remember, then there's gimbal firmware, I think they call it. So I was doing in that order that they say to do them. But then the camera firmware is the last one. And make sure you do the camera firmware, because if you don't, like I was describing earlier, the flight controller then will be continually polling that SD card looking for those files. So when you do that, just reload that 0.3.6 camera firmware, and then you should be good. The other important point is FAT32, format to FAT32 on that SD card, and delete, when you're done upgrading, delete those camera files off that SD card. And what I do to avoid that is I just use a completely separate SD card to upgrade the camera firmware. Anyway, that's probably more information than you wanted, but there it is.
Can you guys see the John Coopy thing up there? It says, "Thanks, Marcus."
I see. That's cool.
By accident and got up there. Okay, now I know how to hide it. Okay, how about that? I can put comments like on the big screen anytime I want to. I just did it by accident.
That's cool.
Ron, you are multi-talented.
I really need Bill Thompson here as the producer. He's the one with all the brains, all the ideas. I just if I wouldn't be for Bill Thompson, I wouldn't even be on the air. So shouting him out again.
Hey, so one more here, Ron. Alan Hazard is asking if you can update the flight control without the camera, and just what I was just explaining. No, you can't. So what I would suggest, Alan, is when you want to upgrade to that new firmware, make sure you load the camera firmware on there, but don't go beyond the 0.3.6. Use that 0.3.6 file.
You see the comment up there? Every time you mention comment, I can put it up there.
That's good.
Hey, I had a question for Bryan. That flying egg drone, how is that thing working out with the camera quality and the flight?
I mentioned that whenever you were talking about, or Marcus was talking about the thrust. There's nothing that puts out more thrust than that thing. I did that video where I flew it in the house, okay, in that model apartment, and it was 15 feet away from them blinds. It was blowing them blinds all over the place. Nothing puts out more air than that thing. I mean, that thing's crazy.
Well, Bryan, next time you go out and fly on a hot day, if your phone's going to heat up, why don't you just stand underneath don't even fly the egg, just use that as a kind of a fan. And it'll keep your phone cool.
I bought that thing as I got it so cheap. I mean, it was selling for $1,200. I saw it on eBay. The guy put it up there for an auction, and the photograph he put up there, it looked so shaky, like this has to be a scam. But I bid the $330 for it, and nobody else bid on it, and I won the bid, and they shipped it to me in a couple days.
That's great.
Brand new. And actually, the guy that I bought it from, he didn't send it to me. He had it drop shipped from Chicago. He was in California.
Wow.
So I don't even know what went on there. I just know I got it, and it's brand new, and it works great. I just don't fly it that much. It's big, it's loud, it's kind of like a collector's item. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
kind of like the Phantom 1 that I bought last year,
right.
The original Phantom.
Right.
I've flown it twice. It doesn't really fly that well, and if you do a search on YouTube, it has tons of flyaways.
Oh man.
There's a lot of flyaway videos on it. It had issues with that when it came out. I mean, it was their first effort, right? There was no camera. You have to strap something on it. I put a session on it and flew it around. And I don't know. The controls on it, they're very mushy. Like the way I describe it in the videos, I have a video I made with it a couple weeks ago. I didn't post it yet. It feels like you're running your hand through a bowl of mashed potatoes. That's how the sticks feel. You know what I mean? It's just really mushy controls. There's no precision in it. But like I said, I bought it as like a collector's item, you know. As a matter of fact, the drone review wanted to buy the box off of me because he wanted to put it on his shelf behind his head there in his studio. He offered to buy the box off of me.
Huh.
But like I said, I just bought it as a collector's item. You know, I've only flown it twice.
I just was looking the other day. B&H has it for like $450 brand new.
What, the Phantom 1?
No, what was the egg drone?
Yeah, I got it for $330.
Yeah.
I've been keeping my eye out for a Evo that I can get back cheap.
Oh, there you go.
Keep looking.
Yep, they're the cheapest one I've seen so far is $700. So
they hold the price well.
Yeah, I paid $9.99 for mine.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they stick with a firmware update because they definitely have a lot of potential with that drone.
Yeah, it has a really solid feel to it.
Yep.
You know it's a quality product. When it takes off and it's just sitting there, you just know it's a quality item. You know, it's worth the money. The camera is really nice on it. You know?
Oh yeah.
Well, if I ever figure out how to use it correctly, I might be able to do something with it. It has that missions now. It has that mapping.
Yeah, so if you want a mapping, there you go.
Right, but don't you have to have a certain camera to do mapping, or is that software?
You know what? Billy Kyle would definitely be the one to ask about that because I've done mapping with the Anafi using Pix 4D and it works great. But I just took what I know about taking photos and just make sure it's got a really high shutter speed and you get the ISO down so you get the image quality. But as far as like, do you really need a global shutter or not, like the Phantom 4 Pro has? I don't know. That would definitely be a question for Billy Kyle.
Okay.
We've just been joined by John.
Hey, John.
He's calling in.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me in, Ron. What's going on?
It was so easy to send you the link and get you. And I wanted to test how 5 people did on here in case we have 5 people on drone therapy on Wednesday night. It looks like it's going to be perfect, John.
Yeah, that's when the software is going to blow up. You add one more person and boom. Right.
It looks like it's doing pretty good to me, and I'm seeing 30% CPU usage on my end, so not too bad.
Oh,
not too bad.
Nice. I don't even see that. Where do you see that at, John?
In like the task manager.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Great.
Yeah, it looks good. I think everybody looks way better than Hangouts did.
No question.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, it's said that Google Hangouts is done, but at the same time, I see everyone's stream quality has gone way up now.
Believe me, Google's going to be back with something else. Trust me. They're not just giving up on that forever.
Hey, Bryan, I hope so because I own a little bit of Google stock.
They're going to be back with something. Believe me.
Well, I mean, I think what they, not to get inside baseball again here, but I think what they, Google Hangouts is part of the failed Google Plus.
Right. Exactly.
And what happened is Google Plus still survives for business users. And they have, I think, 2 pieces of software now that let the business people stream like we do. But, but that's all paid for stuff now.
Right.
So they basically.
They're going to come out with something. Trust me. I mean, you can still run your individual live stream from the manager. You can still go on. You just don't have a Hangout. But they're going to come out with something.
It works, yeah. And here's some more inside baseball. Marcus and I use this software, StreamYard. It not only streams to YouTube, but also streams to Facebook. And we did a great little stream on our ZinoNation group to let people know that we weren't using Hangouts and we wouldn't have that little hard link for the show anymore, but just show up at night and we'd be here. Now, the key is I'm going to have to get with Bill Thomas. I wonder if there's a possibility that you could dual stream the show to YouTube and Facebook at the same time.
And that'd be nice.
You're expecting a whole hell of a lot for free.
Marcus, I may have to get that Patreon thing and collect our $20 a month or whatever.
You
Then,
have to whip out that credit card there, Ronnie.
well, or once that stock market pops up again, according to your predictions, Brian, we'll be rich again.
Well,
There you go.
What is it? 2 days and we'll be rich again?
well, by Friday, Marcus. By Friday.
By Friday, we're in the money.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Don't take your stock tips from those fools on TV.
No,
Brian.
they don't know anything. They know
Best
nothing.
stock tip ever: buy index funds. Don't buy individual stocks.
Oh God, I've been buying individual stocks since I was your age, John.
Hey, Marcus, you should have taken about $1,000 out of your stock account yesterday, went out and bought yourself an Evo, and you wouldn't have lost it today.
Oh, there's no question about it. So woulda, coulda, shoulda. I mean, heck, if I had that kind of foresight, well, I really would have some money.
Right.
Okay, hey, you know what? We haven't said these 3 letters tonight.
Letters.
What haven't we said tonight? DJI.
Oh yeah.
Oh, now you've said it. Nice work. Oh wait, no, the DJI FPV system.
Yeah, we did. I did bring that up earlier.
I got something going on here with this DJI. Okay. So what? Do you think maybe they're gonna start like changing their business model, maybe getting away from drones?
I got a box from them today.
I mean, they just came out with that tank. They just came out with this FPV system, but it doesn't have a drone attached to it. You have to supply your own drone.
I just think they're trying to diversify.
They're doing all this camera stuff now and all that. Are they going to maybe slow down on drones?
Well, I think what it is, Brian, is they're waiting until the end of the year to release the drones because of the what's that new system?
Yeah, but you don't know that for sure.
They're going to have in because for the
You don't know that for sure.
we don't know that for sure.
Right.
But I think that
Everything you hear is just all rumors. I've been hearing Spark 2 for the last year.
it's coming. It's coming soon.
Yeah. Okay. I've been hearing that.
My sources
I
amazing.
don't see shit. I
Spark
just hear, but no see.
Listen, based on what's going on,
How old's the Phantom 4 now?
I don't know what you.
How old's the Phantom 4? When did that come out?
The Phantom Pro V2's come out again in September. I just read it on Drone DJ last week.
I'm with Ethan. I think that they're just trying to diversify. They're already on top when it comes to the drone market and as good as maybe it can get right now for consumers. But I will say this, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if in the long term they shift their drone business towards the enterprise end rather than the consumer end. You know, what's going on right now is too early to tell for that. But could you guys see it going that way? Could you guys see them maybe doing less and less aimed at the consumer sector and more toward commercial?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so their last 5 products have not been drones.
Right.
Okay, they came out with the Osmo Pocket. They came out with the Osmo Action. They came out with the tank. And they came out with this FPV system.
And the extension.
The extension rod, right.
Okay.
So those aren't drones.
Yeah, I mean, it's one quarter.
I understand they're making money on the products. They're making money. The products are selling like crazy. So they're making tons of profit on it, but it's not drones.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Brian, who's there to actually beat them? I mean, who's there to beat the Mavic 2 Pro's capabilities right now? I don't really know anybody who's beating it. I mean, you could say Autel is for the price performance ratio, but I don't know who's really clobbering DJI right now.
Yeah, I think Autel, if they release their Evo, same frame with a 1-inch sensor and adjustable aperture camera, I mean, they would be right there with them.
But they haven't.
Yeah,
we know Autel's development is slow. That's what we do know about Autel. It took them forever to get the Evo out. It took them quite some time to get the firmware done.
That's the problem. They don't have the money.
Right.
You know, DJI has 8,000 employees. They have the money coming out their yin yang.
Yeah, well, they've done the impossible. HD FPV. I mean, so many people said that was impossible. That would never happen. HD FPV is a dream. It's not going to happen. And you know, enough money, enough research and development, they can make anything happen.
They have the R&D cash that these other companies don't have.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still a little concerned about the fact that they haven't put out any drones since the Mavic 2 Pro. Isn't that been out like a year now?
Right.
Isn't that been about a year since that came out?
Keep in mind too, they want to put the receivers for the transponder readings, right, on all their new drones.
Not everybody's going to put out a $1,400 for a quadcopter.
Right.
You'd think they would want to get back into something into the $800 range or something. Like I said, not everybody. I mean, I'm even having a hard time scraping up the money for the Mavic 2 Pro. I want one of them too, but I buy all this junk.
Hey,
so I don't.
Hey, John, I want to bring up a story. This ties into what you're saying. It's kind of a story I was saving for Build the Drone viewer show, but I'll debut it here. Skydio, who made that drone that kind of followed you around, it costs like $2,000-3,000. This is all rumor, but supposedly they've been approved by the government, kind of like Parrot, to build drones that won't send information back to China. I don't know if Skydio is an American company or not, but that it's in the fall, we'll say September, they're going to release a Mavic 2. I'll just say Mavic 2. I don't know if it's Zoom or competitor, like a competing product on the same level that'll be government approved, and that will really shake things up if that happens. Again, this is all unconfirmed rumors. You just pieces together from things like you see read on Drone DJ, but it sounds like Skydio definitely has something coming out soon that's going to make an impact on DJI. And I think the government thing, I think that's kind of confirmed, but
they better put a controller with it because that's what killed that other.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be more of a Mavic 2. And Ethan, I have something for you. You mentioned to me on a previous show about when I talked about the Anafi 2 coming out, and you said, where did I hear anything? Well, I saw a show recently where Hey Kessler from Drone DJ was on talking about, I forget what they were talking about, but in the thing, he casually mentioned, without saying any dates, that they're working on the Anafi 2.
Oh, yeah. I spoke with Parrot Support last week, and they confirmed that too.
But you said that last time we talked, but even since you told me that, I heard Hey Kessler say that he just casually dropped that they're working.
I'll buy that sucker day one.
Oh yeah, my biggest thing with this, I'm always skeptical about any rumor. That's why I don't really talk about rumors much. But because the customer support guy just told me it was a version 2. That's all it was. It's not like a Anafi Pro or anything like that. And so my biggest thing, what I hope they don't do is just take the original Anafi and put it in the Anafi Thermal's frame. So because the Anafi Thermal's got an upgraded frame. Right. So that's what I hope they give us a better camera than what we got. I mean, it's really great, but even if they kept that same form factor that it's got now with the same motors, keep it quiet, long flight time, and they just gave us a little bit more camera, I think they would definitely have a winner.
I do too. And talk about rumors. I don't mind rumors as long as you talk about them as rumors. Just don't talk about rumors like they're fact. Like every time I say something, I say rumor. I don't say it's inside information or facts. It's rumor.
Right.
So as long as you present a rumor as a rumor, I don't have an issue with it. It's just people that try to present a rumor as fact. That's where I have an issue.
They present themselves as insiders when they're really not.
Exactly. So that's our sermon for tonight,
and we're sticking to it.
Yeah, Yeah, the customer support guy, he said they cannot give me a date or when it will be released, but he said hopefully soon. That's all he said.
So back to John's point, if these things show up, if an Anafi 2 shows up with not just a new frame, with some nice upgrades, things that people need, and this Skydio shows up and it's a Mavic 2 competitor, do you think that will? I mean, DJI, if we know these rumors, DJI has to know these rumors too. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to this stuff if it does happen. Because just like Bryan said, say if they came out with an advanced model that say it has a better camera or whatever people want, a 3-axis gimbal, more range, and it's in the $800-900 range, and it's a better drone than the Mavic Air, and say it's a Evo competitor at that point or whatever, that could change the market.
It could here, but Ron, I think moreover, what DJI has going for it is just like Bryan described. They have 8,000 employees or whatever, so they have people in think tanks that are figuring stuff out. They know what we want before we even know what we want, and they're coming out. Whatever they hit the market with will blow us away, and it'll have features that we haven't even thought of yet, and you'll go, wow, that's amazing, and we'll all melt our credit cards buying it.
Well, it's true. The Mavic 2 Pro, Bryan said, it came out like how many months ago? Well, it's a year old. It came out at the end of August. And it's still by far the best consumer drone on the market, whatever, that, not counting the professional drones. And a year later, but
it's the benchmark. There's no question. It's the benchmark.
Companies like Parrot and Evo, they're only making one drone, so they may have less engineers, but they're only making one drone. So that's an advantage. Well, you talked about the market. Look at Apple. At one point, they were only making one or two computers or whatever. But, and HP and other people, they had 100 laptops and computers. But Apple only had to make one or two lines of computers. So they were making a better computer or whatever. The MacBook dominated the laptop market or whatever. Maybe not in sales because all the other Windows ones put together outsold them. But they're one particular model because they only worked on, they didn't have as many, say, employees at that time, we'll say 20 years ago when they started to rise to where they are now. But with the phones, they only had one phone, but they only had all the engineers work on one phone, not 50 phones. So
let me put it to you this way, Ron. I would love to see an American company like Autel dominate the drone market, but it's going to take a bigger commitment than what we've seen from them so far to make that happen. We haven't seen any sign that. I mean, they build a great product, but that they are really going to innovate. They haven't really pushed it much. I don't know what.
Well, let me go off of that. I don't care that Autel dominates the drone market in every category. They don't have to make 10, 12 different drones for me and dominate the high end, the buy-in. Just make the best drone on the market. If they only made one drone and that drone was the best drone on the market, to me, that makes them a winner. They don't have to make a little Tello and a Spark type drone. If they just make one drone and it's the best one out there, to me that's a success.
Who's got a Tello here? Anybody?
Not the Tello.
I flew one time and I tested one, but that was about it.
I got the one with the extra batteries and all that.
Oh, the love kit.
$80 brand new on eBay.
Yeah, it actually flies pretty decent and holds its position extremely well for not having GPS.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, Bryan, does this thing fly better than the Tello?
Oh, hell yeah. Way better.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I mean, I took this out the park. I flew it. I mean, I was the first time really flying outside of the backyard for a few minutes. It was too windy. I took it to the park. Man, I was flying all around the field, doing my figure eights and whatever. I mean,
the Parrot Mambo blows the Tello away.
Really?
As far as flying, it doesn't have a camera. It doesn't take video. But just to fly it, it's way better.
Well, that's the other thing about the Tello is it's unbelievable how good the particularly the still pictures, but even the video is for without a gimbal is fairly stable.
It's okay. It's got horrible Bluetooth, horrible lag.
yeah,
The range is awful.
right.
I mean, I made a video, and actually, that's the best it had ever flown for me. I did a stock range test. I made it unbelievably like 260, 70 feet. I couldn't believe it. It never had done that before. Yeah, because that thing,
I'm actually surprised that Tello doesn't have no fly zones
way
on it.
overrated.
There you go.
Bryan, we've been spoiled by really, really good toys at that price range, that $100 price range that the Tello originally came out for. Even when I saw it, I was like, there's just so much better that you can get for $100. Even when it came out, I was like,
so what is
this
it, John? I'm interested.
crazy.
What are they?
Oh my goodness! You could literally get like a Bryan Toys X16. That was an amazing GPS drone. It could carry a freaking GoPro. They were selling it for $99. We also had like the Bugs 2 the Bugs 2W. Yeah, the camera wasn't as super good, but again, you had like a full GPS quad. Now you only pay like $120 for it. It was just boggling my mind that they were selling a Tello for like $100, and it wasn't even brushless. No, it didn't even come with a controller.
It was $100.
Mm-hmm.
It had that little DJI logo on it, With my Tello, I bought the Tello for $100. Then I bought a controller for $50 that didn't work. Then I had to buy another controller for $30. It didn't work.
At the time, did they have the Battle Sharks, Bryan, or was it just called the Vizio? You know what I'm talking about, right? They had that, and that was like $60 at the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather have that over the Tello, but I mean, that's just me.
Now I had that the Vizio. I still have my Vizio. Then they put the upgraded one out, the Battle Shark, with the face on the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
That one I gave to David Smith. I mailed it to him, but I kept the original one. Even though it had the smaller battery and all that, I still thought that one flew better. As actually a flyer, not as a camera thing. They have cameras, but those cameras are all garbage on them things.
Oh yeah, they're all junk.
Right.
Junk.
My problem with the Tello is once you buy the Tello for $100, you buy the controller. That's what's the controller? Another $30.
$30.
The batteries are expensive too. $20 a pop is what they were when they came out.
Then you get the batteries, and like our friend Dave G, that's Perth West, he gets these third-party Android apps for that make it run better. But they're like, I forget, like they're $10, $15. So in other words, you're almost at $200 when you get everything you need for it.
Yeah.
You can go on eBay right now and get a Parrot Bebop 2 with a controller with everything you need for $199. And what's better, the Tello or the Bebop 2?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Or you could just get a Bebop 1 for $99.
Right.
I just bought one.
Which one's better?
I get the batteries.
Yeah.
I just bought that refurbished Bebop 1 just to get the batteries. Because my batteries on my Bebop all died, so the batteries were so expensive. So I just bought another one for $99 refurb from Parrot, and
crazy.
Got the batteries. So.
And John brought up the new no drones from DJI. They didn't even bother putting out a Tello 2 or Bryan. Yeah, they could at least throw a Tello 2 out. Whatever this year.
And believe me, that
was an update.
They made money on that thing. That thing sold well. Look how many groups there are on that Tello, how many Facebook groups and all the activity going on that Tello. Man, to me, that was an overrated dog.
I mean, I will admit though, there is a pretty cool app, Perth West OZ. Right. He does a lot of reviews of that third-party app. I mean, you can do some pretty neat things with it. I would love to see DJI come out with another toy grade, because oh my God, what we're seeing today with some of the toys, man, it is so bad. I mean, but I don't think they're interested. What
I think killed that Tello was that Bluetooth transmission. It just causes so much lag. I mean, I get lag. Even when it flies good, there's lag.
You know what? They want to just use that as a stepping stone to get people to buy their big drones. They figure, give people this, they say,
the thing about it is the Parrot, the Mambo, that uses Bluetooth controller, but it don't have lag. Parrot's Bluetooth is better than Rise's Bluetooth.
Yeah,
there's no lag in the Mambo, but there's plenty of lag in the Tello.
You know what irks the hell out of? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you think the reason that DJI is holding off is because their Tello, Spark, Mavic Air, Mavic Pro, all those drones are still selling extremely well?
I think there's some truth.
Well, I don't know if the Mavic Air is still selling well because they just cut that price so much. So
yeah, Ethan,
maybe they're just trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, what'd you read into what big box store sold the Mavic Air for like what $525 back?
That was like Best Buy.
Well, who was it, Marcus?
Target did as well.
Target sold those things so far below the price. It's like they purposely just dumped them or whatever. Right. So obviously Target knows something we don't know.
I paid $1,000 for mine.
Wow.
Yeah, I also think that they were probably once the Parrot Anafi had another spike in sales, they probably did that to compete.
That's true because the Anafi became much more affordable. So right. Right.
I mean, I got the Flymore pack with the Mavic Air, but it was $1,000 when that came out with the Flymore. It was $1,000.
Yeah, I do love the form factor of the Mavic Air. I will say that.
Right.
That's about it.
But $1,000 is a lot.
I agree.
$1,000 is a lot of money for a Wi-Fi drone.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's like special Wi-Fi. It's not just your regular run-of-the-mill Wi-Fi. They've done something to it because it has some really pretty solid range. I've never lost a connection with that. I flew that thing not too long ago, went 1.5 miles with it. I didn't have not one hiccup with it.
Right.
That was that video I did on that bridge, that Elizabeth Bridge.
Right.
And that thing was all the way around going down the river. I was behind buildings and a water tower.
It was 1.5 miles, but it was a noisy 1.5 miles, huh?
No, I put those props on.
You put the quiet props on. Good man.
So, hey Brian, with those with the quiet Master Airscrew props, how would you rate the noise level comparable to like a Mavic Pro now or a Mavic Pro Platinum?
Yeah, it's a lot quieter. I mean,
that's
just
fantastic.
there's a bunch of videos out there on YouTube about it. And then they came out with the V2 of those props. I didn't see any difference in the noise, but you didn't have to mess with the gain so much. So,
I'm amazed at how
that was the issue they had with the original set of the quiet props for the Mavic Air. They were people getting those motor overloads.
Right, drawing too many amps.
They put them out and didn't tell people, oh, you got to lower the gain down to 80. But they didn't tell anybody that. And people were flying it and they're burning their motors up and, shit like that. So
I always was curious if you're getting less flight time with those, being that they're obviously they got a higher pitch.
They increased the flight time because you got to turn the gain down on the motor. There was
nice.
7% increase in the flight time.
Nice. That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. I'd never heard that before. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, that was part of the deal. Increased.
I never heard that either.
Yeah. It's good info. I'm surprised how quiet the Mavic 2 Pro is.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Amazing how quiet that is for a drone that goes 45 miles per hour in sport mode.
Oh yeah, we've been really looking at that and getting for some weddings we've been doing. We've been using the Mavic 2 Pro and the paired Anafi for weddings, just because the Anafi can get in really close and not really bug anybody.
Yeah.
But the Zoom, you can't get as close, but it does have that optical zoom on it, which is it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that zoom on the Evo is not that good. That's one of the things I don't like about it. I don't even use it. Actually, the Anafi zoom is way better than the Evo zoom. Now the Evo zoom goes in way further, but it's all artifacted and
Oh yeah, you'd have better luck doing it in post processing.
Right.
Yeah.
The what strikes me about that Mavic 2, when Sarah and I were in Arizona and Utah, I took 3 drones with me. I took the Mavic 2, the Anafi, and the Zino, and I was charging all the batteries every night and flying them all every day. But every time I get the Mavic 2 out and fly it, you'd go, okay, whoa, yeah, this is how a drone is supposed to fly. I mean, it just flies so much better and smoother and easier to control, and everything about it is just it's just that step above.
Oh yeah,
hold on, Marcus, I'm getting it. I got about 70 in there.
You got to break the piggy bank for that one.
Oh, I'm getting it. It's just a matter of time, man. Believe me.
I tell you what, I still say like my biggest qualm with DJI is definitely the no-fly zone stuff. That stuff, especially doing commercial work now, that stuff drives me crazy.
As soon as you described that the other day, Ethan, I didn't get it until you described it to us and the issues that it causes you. And that's legit, man. That's ridiculous. So even if you get approved in one area, if you happen to stray into another, the drone just comes to a stop, right?
Oh, well, the problem is, and there was a big YouTube video about, DJI is crashing drones into the water. So what happened, there was a guy that flew I think it was a Phantom. So they say he accidentally flew into a TFR and he tried to get out, but before the drone before he could get out, the drone went into auto land mode, which if you ever fly into a no-fly zone or a TFR and you don't have that area unlocked, which a TFR you're not going to get unlocked.
Going to get, yeah.
But if you and it's not unlocked, if you don't get out quick enough, the drone's going to automatically start to land, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Watch, that was painful. That you could just see the guy's distress as it was, and you watch the water get closer.
Oh yeah. Now, yeah, unfortunately, with DJI and knowing that about their product, you have to know where you're at all times because of the stuff like that it's going to do. And you got to know exactly what it's going to do. It's not going to return to home. It's not going to do anything that you would think it should do. It's going to just land. And if you're over water, that's going to be a bad thing. If you're over a highway, that's going to be a really bad thing.
Now, is that if you go into a flight restricted zone?
Yeah, if you go fly into
if you're in a regular zone, but then you fly into a flight restricted zone, what does it automatically just land?
Yes, it should. So what it should do, it should stop in midair, like almost like you ran into a wall is what it should do. But if the GPS sensors are lagging behind, or if there's any kind of delay in where its positioning's at, and you fly into that zone for whatever reason, once it recognizes it's in an area that it shouldn't be in, it's going to just start to land.
So Ethan, wasn't this a situation where the guy was flying out there and the TFR started after he was already out flying? Or
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And and like I think Ken Dono made a video about that too, where he said that that's one thing that's the down thing. It doesn't give you the heads up that that's going to happen. Now, if you're using Air Map or Kitty Hawk, it does tell you that there's going to be a TFR in the near future.
I think the pilot had said that he knew about the TFR, but he just lost track of time, and he didn't realize that it was already 5 o'clock, and it was too late. You're flying, you lose track of time, and that's it. So he just got screwed. Yeah,
that's one of those rare occurrences, but unfortunately, that's the thing about DJI's no-fly zone software. It's going to do stuff like that you wouldn't think it would do.
Hey, Ethan, Air Map or Kitty Hawk?
I use them both, and I go with the one that's going to let me fly.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, their maps are a little different. They're not exactly with the location where I live. There is multiple no-fly zones and multiple overlaps of those no-fly zones. And if you look at the FAA's sectional map and then you put it against Kitty Hawk and Air Map, they're close, but they're not exactly the same. So I go with whichever one's going to allow me to fly in that zone. And then don't even get me started on the DJI's map, because that's a complete crap.
You're going to be mad at me, Ethan, but where I live here, I'm in an unrestricted flight zone, but I was driving around there. I was working today. So I kept trying to drive the spots where I thought were restricted, just so I could try the Kitty Hawk and them out. I couldn't find a restricted zone to fly in, stopping the car along the road. I never found one.
Yeah, there may not be one. Then see, that's the thing with like the DJI has their own flight map, like Air Map, that's their own thing, and they and unfortunately their stuff overrides what the FAA legally says is allowable.
Yeah, the first one I ever ran into, I was in Oregon last summer. I was on the shore, and I was in what looked like a completely deserted area, like it wasn't anything around, and it wasn't a national park, it wasn't a state park, because I checked that in the apps. But I had the Mavic Pro Classic, and it wouldn't take off because it was in some kind of DJI restricted drone. But I mean, I never go off the ground, so I had no worry of or anything.
I tell you what, once you guys are out of warranty, you all should look at No Limit Drones. I mean, you can just with that app, you can just remove all those restrictions, and you won't have to deal with it again. I mean, you won't be able to get any new updates from DJI, but that's a trade-off. You literally won't have to deal with any more NFZ nannying from DJI themselves. Let you make the decision for yourself.
Well, last time, I was thinking about that for my my partner. He's got the Mavic Pro Platinum, and we were talking about that. And he could get it for his, but I just checked their website last week, and they don't have support for the NFC removal on the Mavic 2 yet.
The Mavic 2, yeah, I think you're right about that. I think it's the Mavic The original Platinum has it, but not the Mavic 2. They still don't have it, huh?
No, not yet. That's the thing. I was worried about firmware updates because they I did see at one time, I haven't done it yet, but I've seen at one time like the DJI. Can't remember which drone it was. I think it was the Mavic Air. It would not let me fly unless I updated the firmware.
Well, yeah,
that's why they have their own app too.
Times. Oh yeah, I've had that happen a couple times actually.
Yeah, they have their own app to avoid that.
The Mavic Air.
Yeah, so I was always worried about like buying that, and then DJI turns around and makes you do a firmware update, and then you have to go through contact them and go through that process again of like getting that thing unlocked.
Yeah, that did actually used to be an issue, but my understanding is now they have the NLD client for your phone, so you don't actually have to ever touch DJI's app anymore. That way, you're not going to get tricked into updating. DJI's app isn't going to, try to finger your Mavic and try to figure out what you've got going on.
Right.
That used to be a really big problem, but
then if you're using like a third-party app to fly, you're not going to get all those features in the app that you would have in the Go 4 app.
Yep, it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah, I really wish they. I think Ken Dono and Billy Kyle were talking about this one time in one of their live streams a while back. But as big as DJI is, and now with like we have Lance and Lanc and all that, they really should have that built in right there. If you have, for you to request authorization right there within the app, and as soon as you get the okay, it gives you, unlocks everything. But I don't know if they're ever going to do that, just because their air maps don't line up with the FAA's.
Right. Hey, I just want a quick shout out. Herb Flying High's in here. I don't know if Herb's ever been on one of our shows before, but I follow his YouTube channel. Herb's, I think, around New Orleans, and he's been into some RC cars lately, but I know he has a Spark. He's a great guy. Anybody say hello to Herb. If you don't follow the channel, go over to YouTube, follow the channel. He's got some great videos. And Cigar Nation War was asking John, what was that program again to unlock the drone? I'm going to get the comment up here on the big screen. There we go.
Yeah, John.
I put the link to this site in the thing.
Oh, great. Let me put the link up here. Boy, this is great. There's a link, everybody, to the nolimitdrones.com. So
if you guys want to set a lot of your DJI drones free, except the Mavic 2, I guess except the Mavic 2 Pro, they're still working on that. But yeah,
a lot of guys that I know that fly around this area, they always have a secondary non-DJI drone with them, just in case that they have problems with getting it unlocked. Oh yeah, they have an Evo. Most of them have Evos or the Parrot Anafi. That's like the two big ones that I carry the Anafi with me all the time with the Mavic 2, just in case.
Just in case.
Most of the time I don't have a problem getting an area unlocked, but every now and again the DJI app just like it refuses to unlock. It'll tell you it's unlocked, but the drone still won't take off. So, right. And when you're trying to get some photos or the light's just right and you need to get up and get it done, it's really, it can be a hassle.
Huh. Great. Well, listen, guys, we've going to break the record for the longest ZinoNation. I think we've almost hit 2 hours here. So,
did we ever talk about the Zino?
Yes.
Well, yeah, with a little Zino.
I know we did. I'm just pouring your life.
I told you and I told your story about how you have Kelly's and you're going to take it to spin up and ask Kelly why it crashed so much. Because John, how it's been flying perfectly for you, right?
Yeah, I've got 5 flights on it so far, just right out here in my backyard. Honestly, I haven't had any trouble with it. I took it out like 2,000 feet too, and I still haven't had any trouble with it. But it is time to upgrade the firmware. So I don't know if it was upgraded before it got sent to DeMarco, and maybe that's why.
DeMarco said he hasn't upgraded it when he had it.
Marco said he hadn't upgraded it,
right.
But did Kelly do any upgrades before?
Yeah,
so he did.
He upgraded from his first flight to his second flight. He did do a firmware upgrade on it.
Okay, so then that second flight, when he crashed, it's still on that. It's still on that firmware. Then
you said it's 1.148.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is on there. Yeah,
pretty good firmware. But
what did he crash into? Some pillows? because it doesn't look like it has a scratch on it.
No, I would have never guessed it was
It's
crashed.
tough
And
drone, though. Brian, it's crash proof. It's tough.
yeah, I mean,
They have no problems.
the first time he took off, he even said that he figured that maybe it wasn't folded out all the way, because you can arm this thing and try to take off if not all the way folded out, like, you know, if your legs and arms aren't folded. The second one looked like there was some kind of weird, like, loss of control issue, and he had said that he felt like that wasn't him. He felt like it was the Zino. I guess in the video it was sort of bobbing around a bit. It was kind of windy that day too.
Yeah, it bobbed around a lot. My first flight, but there was like 30-mile-an-hour winds too. So
yeah, I mean, I don't expect this thing to work very well in 30-mile-an-hour winds. I'm not saying that he did either, but like, I don't know. I haven't had any trouble with the point 48 firmware. Honestly, it's been working pretty good for me. So
don't go past the 5.2.
Yeah, but
no.
wait till you put 5.2 in there, John, and you could control the speed of like the yaw and the vertical and everything. You could slow that thing down, or where you could fly it through one of your FPV courses, probably, or whatever. That's how slow you can get it going. And when you have it going slow, I mean, it just flies. I mean, I flew it around a baseball field like I was running the bases. Like when I slowed down, it was so precise.
That's good. See, the app is loaded with all these little things that I tap into it, and it's like, you know, you don't have the right firmware version for that. You don't have the right firmware. So yeah. I want to get it up to date. I want to get that all figured out. Hopefully, I'm gonna use what you guys told me tonight, and maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know, I'm kind of tired now, so I'll see if I can do it tomorrow, and hopefully I'll bring it up to date. I'll keep the camera firmware on 0.3.6. Right now it's 0.3.5B2, I think, is on here or something like that.
Which is pretty good. You won't tell much difference between that and 0.6.
But it is better. I think, yeah, it's better. I think maybe even much better for pictures. It's better. It's not remarkably better, but it is better.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to stray too far away, but I guess my main question was, you know, is it going to play nice? And from what I've seen, yeah, you can piece in that camera firmware. It's not supported by Hubsan, but you can do it. You can get away with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I can get this little buddy updated.
And then Ethan still wants somebody to send him a little clip from the Zino, because he wants to try to put it in his editing software and see how much headroom it has for editing. Correct, Ethan? Right.
That'd be awesome if somebody could put up like raw footage from the SD card in like a Dropbox or a Google Drive for me. That'd be great.
Right. Because I mean, I'd be anxious to see. You know, I mean, you know, you definitely can manipulate it in the editor. I mean, you know, not to the degree, of course, you can. You know, the Mavic 2 Pro or something like that. You know, it's not like a toy drone where you can't touch the video, where it immediately, basically, you know, becomes blurry. You know, you do have a little headroom in there, but I'll be anxious to see what you think.
Hey, Ethan, I'll do that. I'll throw something on Google Drive for you. So I guess I just need your email address, right? So maybe you can PM me with it.
Yeah,
definitely.
You guys want to hear something funny? Even my neighbor, who's never really flown a drone before, he saw me flying a Zino, and he wanted to see what it was all about. And I let him take the controller, and he flew around a bit. And he's like, "This is really nice. Like, it's so stable. It's so great." So even he was flying a Zino, and he digs it.
I mean, I don't know if I'd exactly call it stable, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I don't recommend it as a beginner drone is because the software updating is so convoluted on it, and you have to have a Windows computer. You know, your phone.
That's
multiple Windows computers. Guess what? The laptop that I'm on doesn't like the Zino for some reason. I was getting every time I plugged it in today that a USB malfunction was occurring or something or other, port reset. Literally could not get my computer to communicate with the Zino. I had to dig an old laptop out, and now of course it works fine there. I mean, I don't know what's going on with what I have here.
I have no idea what these damn engineers were thinking with that jumper with the controller and
exactly
the whole thing. Thinking about.
They were smoking a little reefer, I think, Bryan.
They were drinking some of that rice wine or something. I don't know what they were drinking.
Yeah, that's what. That's the cost
I had the hardest time doing that to that controller.
That's the cost of cheap programming, Bryan. That's the cost.
Put a clamp on these tweezers, and it's
I saw that, and I'm like, what are they thinking? Like, someone actually made a video about that and said, "Yep, this is okay. We're gonna release it like this."
Yeah.
Totally stupid.
Parks in Texas, everyone loves the Zino, even country parks people.
Right on.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Josh.
I love the way you can present people's text on this thing. I absolutely love that.
I got a new trick for Bill Thomas now, don't I, John? He's gonna love this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
So again, I've started saying
Ryan's here, and he's got his Zino back ordered.
Well, hold on. Here we go. Ryan's here. He's on the big. Ron, you're on the big screen, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Ron kind of invited me in tonight. He kindly just had me jump in so we could all chat and see how this thing worked with 5 people on it. I wasn't supposed to be on.
And look, there's a spot we could even put. Well, we're about to go off the air, but we could get Ryan right between John and Marcus.
I was asking these guys a bunch of Zino firmware upgrade questions because I've got to piece in the older camera firmware because the new camera firmware sucks. So I was trying to make sure that I was going to go about doing the right thing because Ryan knows about my troubles today with the Zino firmware and getting it connected to the computer.
And here we got Drone Pool's in here with us, and he also ordered the Zino. He's getting his soon. Let me get Drone Pool up here. Dan's got his coming. He had a voicemail today. It was all in Chinese. Drones flew back to China.
I got an email from Banggood that said they were going to try to get them shipped by the 16th.
Okay. Well, listen. How about this for a show, John? When Ryan and Drone Pool get their Zino, 3 of you come on.
Yeah, that sounds great. That'd be awesome.
Dan and Ryan, you up that when you get your Zinos and you at least have one flight in. You got to have at least one flight in. You come on the show and you tell us what you thought of the Zino.
I'm thinking about this.
You could have the show be called The 3 Zinos.
There you go.
That's pretty good.
Bryan, Ron, John, there's only one person in this group here that doesn't have a Zino. What's up, Ethan?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get one. We'll see.
He wants to try out your footage first, Mark.
He's waiting for that footage sample.
Headroom on it, so if he can make some hay out of it, he might get one.
Yeah, I'm waiting on this Anafi version 2 or whatever the DJI might fill this Phantom role with. We'll see.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ethan, the Zino footage, it's very saturated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very oversaturated. Yeah. You could tone that down even in the drone. Ryan says he's good, and look, Drone Pool, they're both good for coming on when they get their Zinos.
Ethan, as a guy who's really focused on like the camera aspect and stuff, I don't think that you would be super happy with the Zino, but for me, and I think for all of us here, like this is such a cheap model for what you get. You can just toss it in the air and you don't even really have to worry about like, oh my God, I'm flying almost $2,000 of equipment in the air. This is just such a casual aerial photography bird. And if you're willing to do, I'm sure if you're willing to do some color grading on it, you can make some of the footage from this thing look beautiful. I mean, I've seen great videos.
Ethan's going to test that out for us if that's possible.
Yeah, I'd love to see what you can do with it.
Turn off some of that footage that I took in Arizona.
The Arizona footage. That'll be perfect. Yep, that'll be perfect. And John, John, you've been in the toy quads longer than I have, but we both started out in a toy background. To me, the Zino is the toy quad I always wanted with a decent camera.
Yeah, me too, Ron. And
nobody, no matter how nice the X16 and all those old drones were, they always this camera stuck. And even if you put cameras on, you could never get all the gel out of them, no matter how much you would spend all this money, and you still had a little gel. But here you got a toy quad, no jello. The video looks good. I mean, it's not DJI good, but it's good enough.
Ron, you're 100% right. And that's why in Bryan's latest video, he said don't even question it. Just buy the Zino now, because
Right.
Bryan knows about all of the toy crafters that are out there that are trying to push $150, $180, and they don't come close to what you can get if you're just willing to spend just a little bit more.
Right.
Zino for $240. I know I sound like a used car salesman for the damn thing, but it's just the truth.
We all talk like that, John. I mean, that's everybody that flies the Zino gets the same thing. It is such an incredible value that yeah. I mean, no, it's not the Anafi. No, it's not that kind of video quality, but it's pretty good, and for the price, that's amazing.
You guys see what Cigar Nation Warriors just put about me? I should be banned until I buy a Zino.
Oh my God.
Well, he Bill's a little strong there, but
no, Ethan's got to stay. We can't.
hey, how about RD Drones? He says, speaking of Joe, anybody know the JJRC H73?
Oh, you guys have no idea. You guys have no idea how bad that drone is. Oh my goodness.
I've got some JJRC thing coming. I can't even remember the name of it.
Well, Bryan,
Mucus or some shit like that. It looks like a Phantom, but it's smaller.
Bryan,
I'm sure it's a big pile of shit.
you've owned a few Jello makers in your day, Bryan, haven't you?
What? I've done what?
You've owned a few Jello makers in your day.
Oh God, I've got zillions of them.
It's like you said before, Bryan. Like if you said before, Bryan, I don't know what the hell's happened to the toy market in general. I mean, it's gotten so bad. They're trying to make these toys do all these things that they can't do. They're putting GPSs in quads that there's a Jello fest in the camera, and it's got brushed motors, and it's like you want $130, $150 for that. Like, what about this last one, the MJX, the Mu 4, I think it is. They've got it priced.
One looks like the Anafi, an Anafi and what a Mavic Air combined.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and they've got it priced on their eBay at like $280 or something like that. Like,
and it's got two camera on it.
I don't know what these people were thinking.
Yeah, I remember Steve at Captain Drone I think he had it on his channel, did a video on it.
Yeah, he did do a video on it. And what Captain Drone was saying that price that you see on eBay is sort of just like I guess he put it like that it was a placeholder, that the price will come down later on. But like I saw that and I'm thinking, well, why is MJX even trying to put it up for that price? Like why bother? I think they're trying to see how much they can get for it. They were trying to maybe see like, who would actually fight for it. Right, fishing. Yeah, they're fishing, and it doesn't even have a gimbal. It doesn't even have a gimbal.
Right? Why would you buy that over the Zino?
No, I mean that's
cool.
$100 drone maximum. $100.
It looks cool, but hey, Ryan has a question for you, Marcus. Do you see it on the screen there? Are the Zino pictures good?
Well, I'm looking here and I don't see.
It's on the big screen.
I'm on the wrong page then.
Okay.
Yeah. The Zino pictures, they're okay. I mean, just like the video, they're not bad, but they're not great, right? Would you agree, Ron?
But here's the thing about the Zino. It needs a proper light. Like it's not good in low light, or it's not that shadows. But if you shoot with the light behind you, if the sun's at your back and you're flying, you're pointing the camera of the Zino forward, it takes a good picture. If you try to point it at the sun in the shadows, it's not a good picture. It's kind of like your cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't if you shoot yourself, you take your cell phone picture into the sun or the shadows, probably not good. But you shoot it with the proper light, and it's acceptable.
Well, I forgot who said it, but didn't someone take a look at what sensor was in here and they figured out it was some kind of cell phone sensor, right?
They just say the equivalent. It's the equivalent of a mid-range cell phone. It's not the equivalent of a high-end cell phone like an iPhone or a Galaxy, whatever the current Galaxy Note is. So it's equivalent size sensor. So again, most of the drones like the Anafi, it's the equivalent. I'll say the video, and it's equivalent of my iPhone 10. I wouldn't say better. It's equivalent. And that's not no slight on the thing. The iPhone 10 is a great camera drone. I mean, it's a great camera. So that's high praise in my opinion.
That's what I have coming. I don't.
The Air Kiss.
It's a piece of shit, I think.
Oh, okay. who put it up here?
That's the drone I think that Donnie had all the trouble with.
Oh, really?
The air kiss.
Something
like that.
It's the mucus. That's what I think.
Mucus. Oh well, Ryan just said it. The Feyhoot, Bryan. Yeah. It's crap. It's a real piece of crap. Like when you finally review it, oh my god! And that's what I'm talking about. That's yet another GPS drone. It was a huge jello fest. It flew like crap. Wait, oh my god! The video that Ryan was sending to us today was just unbelievable. I was just like shaking my head. I go to him like, I don't understand what's happened. What's going on with the toys? It's just all gone to hell. It's not even worth looking at any of it. Just get this. Like you said, Bryan, just get this. Screw it. Save $100.
Cameras keep getting better and cheaper, and their cameras keep getting worse.
Hey, John, see if you agree with me. It's a lot of people that say, "Well, I can't afford the Zino because it's $250. That's why I got the the Bugs 3 for $150, $200." But those people, they also bought 2 or 3 other drones along with them or whatever. So if they would have just not bought 2 drones and bought the 1 drone, they could have got the Zino. People never make sense to me. They say they can't afford these better drones or whatever. But you look, but they have 50 of these other drones. Yeah, they have 50. They have 50 drones in it that cost anywhere from $50 to $100. What if you just not bought 2 or 3 of them? You could have bought this drone.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Ron. It's hard to look at that though, because I mean, like we all know how giddy we might get when we see, oh, I really want that drone, and we want to press the buy button. Some people are better at not pressing that button and saving their money than others. But you're absolutely right. Some people get way too caught up in buying low end after low end after low end drone because they just use whatever's on their next paycheck rather than just waiting a little bit and getting something really, really good. And it's that trap, past a certain price point, you have to look at some of these toys today, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth wasting your money.
Right.
Yeah, I've actually had a bunch of people that I work with at the hospital that have, they find out that I have a drone channel and I've, have know quite a bit about drones, and they say, yeah, I bought this thing off of like eBay, or I bought this from, like Amazon. And when it's something that it's like a toy grade drone that was like $100 or $200, and they're thinking they're going to get like, great camera quality out of it, and they totally get turned off, or it doesn't work correctly, and they totally get turned off about the drones all in general, and they get this idea. And so when I tell them, I was like, no, you need to look into this a little bit more.
Have you guys seen on Facebook that one drone that keeps coming up? And it's actually like this little toy Mavic clone. They advertise it. I forget what it's called, but like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
E58. That's what it is.
It's the it's the E58 or whatever the hell. And they put this ad out that if you click on it, guys, oh my god, they make this thing seem like it is a Mavic Pro for $99.
Some of the promotional video they use, it is a Mavic Pro.
Yeah, I know.
He's right. In fact, I saw on one of those come-ons like that, they had a bunch of Kelly Shores videos that they evidently just stole off of his.
Stole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen one of my videos in an ad.
Did you really?
For one of them kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's called the Drone X Pro. That's what I'm talking about. Right. Drone X Pro.
It sounds impressive.
All over Facebook.
It sounds impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive. All right. I mean, the E58, it flies nice, but it's not I mean, the video they got looking like it's 3-axis gimbal and all this shit. And it's just a jello thing, It's just a jello maker.
The dump that any of us take in the toilet is more impressive than that drone for $99. I mean, that's terrible.
So again, just say that $99 and imply enough to get the Zino.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anyway, I just want to throw this one story out before I leave. But anyway, so today I go to this guy's apartment to fix his faucet. Okay. And everybody in this building knows what I do,
Okay.
So he comes over, him and his wife, they come over to the breakfast bar, and I'm working on the faucet, and they said, "Look, Brian, look what I bought." I turned around and said, "What is it?" He goes, "I bought this little drone like this." I said, "Uh-huh." I said, "What are you going to do with that?" And he goes, "Well, I'm going to fly it around." I said, "Let me tell you what you do. You go return that to the store and get your money back, and I'll come up this week and give you something that you will be able to actually really fly and not crash every 5 seconds. So go take that back, and I'll bring you something in a couple of days. I'll stop up and show you what to do." So I'm going to give him
That's nice of you, man.
this.
Oh,
It's
that's
just a little,
Oh, okay.
EIRC Firefly, which anybody can fly this.
that's perfect, man.
Yeah.
That's really nice of you.
Yeah.
I'm taking that because what he had was a Sharper Image DX2, and I know damn well he'll never get that thing in the air.
Huh.
Oh, sharp.
Are you in here, John?
He'll never get that thing in the air.
I took the counting Brian sent me out
Good right there.
for the first time this weekend to really fly because I flew in the backyard, but it flew great over the baseball field. I mean, it flew precise.
K-Dang.
Is this expensive?
No, that was like $45, something like that, $50.
The little fly, and it has a cat. I didn't put the.
It has a modular camera on there. You can pull it off.
And it tilts up and down mechanically.
Mhm.
So, well,
It's okay.
again, we've gone another half hour to try to end the show. So
I'm telling you, if you keep going any longer, whoever the hell makes this duck up here, he's going to send you a big fat bill.
yeah, I'm going to get
All this usage.
or else if we stay too long, Ethan and John and I will have to go right from this show to drone therapy or whatever. We won't even have a break. We'll just go shift right over to that show on the same software. Maybe we don't have to leave the software program. Maybe Bill Thompson can just come in and grab us out of StreamYard into his StreamYard.
I gotta do the live stream if I didn't bring my big cat.
Oh yeah, the big cat.
There he is.
Hello, cat.
That's a good
Cat
name.
play us out.
His first time on StreamYard.
Yep.
But I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Brian, Ethan, of course, my co-host Marcus, John, thanks for coming on. I was going to take the last minute, but you probably got an hour in or whatever. It went so long tonight. I mean,
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was
one of the
useful.
best shows we ever did. You guys were great. We got a lot of info out there. The chat was great. We had great participation. And I'm sorry, chat. I usually kind of shout more out and get more stuff from the chat, but we were just talking. It was almost like we were just friends in a room talking, and I didn't get involved in the chat as much. So, but I want to thank everybody that did come in the chat tonight, especially some newer people like Herb in here and our regulars like Cigar Nation Warriors and Parks and Tech and FSG. They're probably long gone, so I'm talking to nobody now. But Ryan, thanks for coming in at the end. A lot of great comments here, and I can't wait for you to get your Zino. So that's about all I have to say. I'm going to throw it to my co-host Marcus, and then he can throw it to somebody else, and we'll get on out of here. So Marcus, you have any final thoughts?
I'm not going to belabor the point, but I'm going to say this real quickly. What this hobby about is flying drones and having fun. Go out there and do that. And John Coopy, take it from here.
Hey, it was awesome coming on with you guys. Thanks for the improv invite, and wish me luck on my Zeno update. Hopefully it goes a little better.
Right.
That's
We'll
a
be
great
here.
info for me, guys.
Any problems, just hit Marcus and I up on Facebook.
Absolutely. I'm going to be documenting the whole thing. So, yeah, Ethan, take it away.
Thanks, John. Well, I want to thank Ron and Marcus for having me on. It's been great. I always have a pleasure coming on and talking with these guys, and I really look forward to being on in the future. So, and take it over to Brian.
Spark 2, I'll believe it when I see it.
I got it right here on a napkin, right here. I've got it drawn right there. I'm not going to say who got it.
No, the true fact, no rumors.
Right.
All right. Good night, everyone, and have a good week, and happy drone flying.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Or